Way! Hello, viewer. It is a Sunday. It is a June. It is the 18th, 2023. I am Mr. Brown, and I trust you are all doing very well today. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Happy Father's Day. I'm sure it will not be too long before the woke mob try to put this problematic day in the bin. But in the meantime, enjoy Father's Day, everybody. So, on this evening's stream/podcast, we are discussing the goings on in the entertainment and on the social media. Be warned, folks, heavy flash content this evening. But as I always say before we begin, you can find us here on the YouTube, or if you prefer your entertainment in the podcast form, we are also on the Spotify. The links are in the description. So, if you've not shut down for the evening, as I always say, lots to get through. Shall we get the guests out? You know it. Of course we should. Let's do it. First up, promotion, folks. Or is it a demotion? I'm not quite sure. He is the wise elder of the channel. It's the great mega geek himself. He'll be like a startled little bunny in the headlights, everybody. It's the mega geek, Ian David Diaz.
Oh, me first. I've just eaten. I've just eaten. Sorry, mate. I thought
Good
I was
evening.
last.
Good evening, Pac-Man. How are you?
I'm all right, matey. How are you doing? I'm always eating me. How's you?
Yeah, not bad. Did a brisk 52 miles on the bicycle today in the heat. I was caked in sweat, but I did it. Not bad for an old bastard.
Yeah, it's always good to exercise, especially at our age. Well, obviously, I can only speak for myself.
Anyway, so how was Rebecca Gold going?
It's going very well.
What's the latest update, my friend?
Well, I mean, I have a Rebecca Gold Instagram, and there are some behind the scenes stuff on there. So if people are interested, they can. It's called the Rebecca Gold Official. I don't run it. My niece runs it actually.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so it's on Instagram if you want to.
Can
There's
you
like
not give us a little exclusive?
Well, that's what Instagram's for. But I mean,
that's a no then, folks.
Yeah, I'm just shooting bits and bobs of it and stuff like that, and it's going very well so far. So fingers crossed, I'll achieve most of it before the end of this year because that's my goal.
As I said, folks, or as I say, there is a link to Ian's Rebecca Gold in the description. So you're well, Ian. Great to have you on.
Very well, sir.
Shall we get the next victim?
Yeah, I'm wondering who you're going to bring on next.
Oh, you might like this one then. Okay. Next, he is the backbone of Sunday night, and I genuinely love this guy. You know who it is. It is the fantastic Linda, everybody. Linda.
Listen.
Cat 83.
What's up? What's up, nerds? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the chat.
Happy Father's Day.
So you're a father, I do believe.
I am, yes. My kids, they woke me up this morning. They had made me robots for my Father's Day. They had made them out of Kleenex boxes. Yeah, they had made they made robots out of like Kleenex boxes, and they had just put a bunch of stuff on it. It was super cute.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did anybody treat you to anything gift-wise?
No, I'm not one of those people where you need to buy me a gift and everything. Although the missus can give me a little something later on tonight. You know what I'm saying? Listen. You know, be like,
how's your child going, buddy?
I mean, it's good. It's good. It's doing good. I think.
Slow, steady, etc.
Yeah.
Did you get your kid on to review, films, kids' films?
Yeah, we do. Well, we do trailer reactions sometimes when they're home. They're on summer break right now, but my daughter's in summer school, so. But when we do some trailer reactions, I don't know. I don't know how I feel sometimes because people can be cruel a little bit. But
oh yes,
yes, and I mean, for the most part, I don't care because my kids are awesome and stuff. So I'm pretty sure they're tougher than whoever comments on them. So
that's right. That's right.
So you're well, young
I'm
Matthew.
doing great.
Great to have you on. Shall we get the next
person
on? Okay. Next, we see the good inside our next guest. He is the Dark Sith Lord. Jord. Let me press some buttons. He's disappearing. There we go.
Good evening.
Hello there.
Hey-o.
Hello, how are you?
Not bad. How are you, Lord?
I'm good, thank you.
What is the Lord up to?
I am busy beavering away on the Flash review, so I finally got around finishing the script of that yesterday. Well, technically today, because it was the early hours of the morning. So the script is now done. Comes in at 30,000 words, so it'll take a little while to edit together. But yeah, so that'll be fun.
If it makes you feel better, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, if it makes you feel better, I tightened my review from 48 minutes to 12 minutes because I rambled on like quite a bit.
That's going to be a lot of sub 3-second clips.
Yeah.
Yes, it will, but I have plans to avoid the copyright people this time, so it should be fine.
Yes, I saw
it'll be good.
I saw the overlay look really good.
How long is it?
Don't know yet. I've not recorded the whole thing. I've recorded the first sort of half an hour of it, just sort of playing around with the microphone. So I don't know how long the rest of it will take. I would guess 90 minutes to 2 hours would be a rough guess, but I don't know exactly.
2 hours.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
They basically just track the length of the film these days. Flash is just over 2 hours. This one will be around that. Probably.
Lord, I salute your work ethic.
Because I made the mistake of trying to figure out what the fuck the multiverse thing was about, and obviously that's impossible to do because it makes no sense. So that took a while. Yeah, it was fun, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, eventually, I'm hoping it won't take more than like 3 days to put together, and it'll be out Wednesday or Thursday or something.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, look forward to it.
So everything good, Lord? Yes.
All good, thank you.
Shall we get the next delinquent, the next retro beta out? Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
It does, mate. Next, he is the purveyor of meh entertainment, according to the Lord. It's old blue boy himself. It is Movie Cynic. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello, mate. You all right?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm better for seeing you, my friend.
That's cool. Why is it always awkward when I come out?
When you
Everyone
usually show your face.
You came out edgy. You paid to go and see Transformers. You've already come out.
I'm so gay now. Damn it.
Oh, it gets more and more like Friday night tights, doesn't it?
What? No, we're not like that. Not at all.
Not yet.
No, we're not.
It's on its way.
We'll never be like that. Never be like that.
How's your latest video drop going, Movie Cynic?
It's performing pretty well. I think it's at like 21,000 views since I dropped it earlier this afternoon. So not the best, not the worst by any stretch. So I'm pretty
fair
happy
to middling, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
I haven't watched yours yet, but I will.
What was the topic about?
So it's about The Flash, and I actually think it's a really fair review. I really do.
Yeah, I don't like watching other people's reviews before I've done mine because I don't want it to sway me. But I promise I'll watch it. I'm excited to watch it.
Oh no, it's all good.
I love your thumbnail. I love your.
It was all right.
So.
Yeah, I think I tried like 7 or 8 thumbnails. Platoon got a bunch at
first.
And
you chose the wrong one.
No, because you have to take in
you chose the wrong
in
one,
consideration, man. You really, I know what you were saying, and you were wrong.
No, I'm right. Anyway, so no, I'm right. Anyway, so good to have you on, my friend. Shall we get the next body out?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. And last, but by no means least, this is a proper promotion. She is the queen of this channel. She's married, apparently. All the way from the Texas land of Shire, it is Rainy L.
Hello, fine gentlemen.
Hey, all.
Hello there.
Hello there. So how is everyone today?
Pretty good. How are
I'm
you?
good.
We're good.
I can't believe Brown saved the best for last. I am just so.
I always do.
No, just kidding. I'm
Still
kidding.
does.
I'm not that big of a narcissist. Come on now.
He did brought me out first, but I still ended up last. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants you to be the bottom.
Absolutely. There you go.
I thought I was the bottom. Never mind. Anyway,
It looks
so,
like you're
Oh,
the
don't
top
be
today,
FNT.
Brown. What's up? You're
Gay.
usually the bottom.
should we just get practicing? Gay. Go on, movie Cynic. Gay. Gay.
Is that
Mega
his?
Geek. Gay.
I'll do it in the style of Little Platoon.
And this is how Brown got canceled.
Yeah, you know what? You can't say, you know what? There's some really strict rules on freaking. That is one of the strictest, isn't it, on YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm
Can't you say anything? Yeah.
Put on your
You're gonna
camera.
get kicked
quick.
off.
I'm
You know,
arriving.
I'm kind of relying on the fact that I can play the gay card in my intro for the Flash video because there's some really quite spicy Ezra Miller jokes in my script. I'm hoping I get a pass because I have the F word pass, but I don't know if this is how it works yet at all.
Oh,
we'll find out, I guess.
That would be hilarious if they struck you for that and you had to actually push back.
Maybe you have to prove that you're gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any pictures of you?
Yeah, exactly.
Being gay.
honestly,
Don't you guys
I am
get a
gay.
card?
I am willing to get down on my knees to prove it. So,
Well, I am the bottom, so there you go.
In the chat,
spicy-
Gay
spicy
Goodwin at Mr. Brown Alliance asking, just say it in your Jamaican accent, man, and you'll be fine.
Listen to this
no.
racist.
I was going to say, you're going to be accused of
So, Renee, good to have you on.
Thanks. It's good to be on. Nice
Panel,
to
great
be
to have
here
you
with
on.
all these lovely gents. So, yes.
Yes. Shall we say hello, chat, while I remember? Hello, chat. We can
Do
see
it.
you. Hello. Okay, so let's get some graphics up. End of week musing. Sunday, June 18th, 2023. Episode 149.
Blimey, we've done so many. Those episodes, 149. Bloody.
We've done a few. Yes. Big one next time.
That's what she
Ooh.
said.
I like big ones.
That's what she said. You okay there, Rennie? Yeah. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
You
been
like
an
big ones,
interesting
yeah?
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's get on with it. Okay. So, if you have made it this far and you're enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Every single click will help this channel grow.
Rumble. That's what I say.
And if you're feeling generous, please consider donating to the channel. The links are in the description or the pinned message.
Yes. Brown's mouth
Keeps me
and
doing
hands are
it.
getting tired.
This cost me money to do it. Let's
It
move on.
does? Did not
Because it
realise
does.
that. No?
Oh, right. So before we do the Flash stuff, this returned this week. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
It's not Star Trek. I'm out.
Catty, I'm assuming you saw this.
I did see it.
What did you think?
There was a lot of girl boss moments. It was quite infuriating. Like every time they turned around, one of the women had to put a man in his place.
Oh yes.
I mean, it was very mediocre at best. Like it wasn't terrible. Like I didn't leave angry, but it wasn't that great. I mean, so I just go. I can see where they're going with this season now, and it's probably not in a good direction. But yeah, this episode was very mediocre. And
well, it didn't have Pike in it for a kickoff. They
That's true, it
dispensed with him straight away.
Yeah, and they had Carol Kane in there, and I thought they would not play because usually they have her play this old like weird old lady and everything, just with a weird accent because she's got that weird grumbly voice. And I was like, oh, maybe they'll do something different with her. No, she plays the old weird lady. Just she's a starship engineer, and I'm like. It's fine because I love Carol Kane, but it was very like, they just checked a box. And I was just like, it could have been really good, but I have a feeling it's not going to be.
Here you go, Matty. Franco Walker. I only got 5 minutes since episode 1.
I totally understand. If I didn't cover the show, I probably wouldn't have watched it because I just don't care anymore.
I really do want this to be good.
Why?
I agree, but
I just do. It's just
it's not Star Trek.
I know.
Well,
and
the first season wasn't too bad.
No, this first season was absolute rubbish. Sorry,
there was some good moments. There was
no good moments.
Oh,
none. This show sucks. It really does. It really does.
What this
Is
much,
it
is
shit,
it?
Ian?
What's that? Yeah,
Is it
really
shit?
does. It's absolute shit.
And I watched an episode of Robert Meyer Burnett, and he was talking about how they had taken some stuff from other Star Trek projects, like comic books and short stories.
Yeah.
And and that really, after he explained out, because I'm not that deep into I'm not that deep into Star Trek lore where I read like all the comic books and stuff. But I was like, it really is sad that these writers from Kurtzman and the what is it, what is their thing, garbage garage or something, I don't remember their thing, but
garbage is fine.
Yeah, but it's really sad that they can't come up with their own stories for Star Trek that they have to take from other people. And I go, don't you feel
credit the person
exactly?
As well,
I just go, doesn't
terrible.
that make you feel bad that you basically just copy and pasted somebody else's work and you didn't even try to come up with a brand new story that could have been, not only entertaining, but, something fresh and something new that we're all like, hey, look at what they did here. We haven't seen this before. But instead they just copy and pasted and yet, degraded what came before. And it really
what
is.
Else is new?
And that is a good point, but it really was sad that I heard after he had said that. I was just like, because I didn't know about it, but after he had said that, I was like, that really is sad, and I do feel bad for the original writers. I feel bad for them that they don't get credit for not even like a name, a shout out,
Shit, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is
Here you
sad.
Go. Bishop, hello Bishop. New Star Trek stinks of piss.
That's true. That's
one of those old toilets that you get in England that they don't bother cleaning. That's what it smells like.
Genuinely really would love this to be good, but it's just like CW California Trek, and it's just shite.
It's a really long way of saying that. Oh, never mind.
Here you go, folks. Bank of Hostman Socrates for $5. Matt Cat is too easy to please.
Sure is.
Get him watching some quality sci-fi to rectify that. Can you suggest some?
Yeah, you suggest someone, and I'll watch them. But give me like 3. Don't like mention like 15 because I don't have time to watch. 15.
Did you ever watch?
That was the problem I had with season 1 of this show, because I think I watched the first 3 episodes of season 1, and I thought, well, I guess I like that it went back to being episodic rather than serialized in the same way. I liked that it wasn't as overtly preachy and just abominably cringe as Star Trek Discovery was. And it's like, okay, so do I like the show? And then the more you think about it, you think, well, hang on, all I'm really saying is that it's not as bad as Star Trek Discovery, which is not the same thing as saying that it's good in its own right. Which I think is probably the reason I just stopped watching it. My dad because they aired the first episode of season 1 on YouTube, I think, to coincide with this launch to get more people interested.
They did, yes.
Good luck with that. My dad went and watched that, and he hadn't seen any of it before, and I think he confused it with season 2, episode 1, so I was confused as well. But his upshot was that, yeah, it was pretty shit. And he hasn't really seen any of the others either, so he's just saying that as someone who isn't comparing it to, say, Discovery or Picard season 1, which is sort of around the same time. He just looked at it and thought, nah, pretty naff. And to be fair, he's not wrong, because you can say too much for going back to serialized storytelling. You're still not telling good stories in the serialized model. You can say, well, at least there's no Michael Burnham constantly girl bossing her way through every scene, but
that's true.
There's still not very many good characters to actually enjoy. It's very, very preened as well, and coiffed and shiny and bizarre and insubstantial. So I will not be watching this season because I don't give a shit.
Paul Chato said it's just lazy script writing. Some elements could be changed, and it would make it much more interesting.
Everything about this show
dumbed
down. Is
Yeah.
bad. Everything from the casting to the design of the sets to the stupid politics that's playing for it. The casting always makes me not want to watch it.
Yeah.
Always. From the guy that plays Spock, looks nothing like him, sounds nothing like him, acts nothing like him, and I can go on. I saw 3 episodes of this and I thought, no, I'm not watching this because it isn't Star Trek.
Well, the main reason why we got Strange New Worlds, Anson Mount, Captain Pike, wasn't even in this episode. We shipped him off somewhere.
Who gives a shit? Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely
me, because I love Star Trek, but this is just garbage.
This is not Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. Ego Catty, these are the recommendations.
Yeah, I've
Blake
been writing.
7.
Well, that's the only one. That and Jin Ro are the only ones I haven't seen. The Expanse, I've seen it. It's great. I love The Expanse. It's fantastic. That's like my favorite.
Right up until the end.
The end. I feel like the end was rushed because they were
Babylon 5.
But I love Babylon 5. I love it to this day. It's so good.
Did you see the trailer this week?
I didn't.
Cartoon.
No, but now that you say that, I might just bail
It
for a
looks
hot
okay,
minute and
actually.
watch
More
it.
timey-wimey stuff, but, can go with it.
Love Firefly. Yeah, I
Firefly's
love
good.
Firefly. Yes, so good. Love it. Yeah.
Here you go. Johnny Lawrence's mom. Somebody get Matt Cat on Ascot stat.
I'll wear one.
Here you go. Do Americans know what a pikey is?
Isn't that like a circus person?
No.
Kind of in a loose way. Here you go. Terrorhawks.
Yeah, I've seen it. I liked it.
I think in the States they call them Irish Americans.
Yeah, they do.
It's in that movie. He's like, he's not English. He's not Irish. He's just pikey.
He's Jamaican man.
God, no.
At Mr. Brown Alliance, that's me from Hostman. Give Matt Cat some Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, the only one I haven't seen is the Jin Ro. I wrote it down so I could look it up. And then I don't like Blade Runner, but the other ones, I love them.
Didn't Netflix do that very, very tragic Cowboy Bebop live action?
It was bad.
It was terrible.
And now they're coming for One Piece as well. I've not seen either of Cowboy Bebop or One Piece, but I know that they are quite long-lasting and beloved, and Netflix is doing live actions of both, or has done live actions of one and is doing the other, which is not filling people with confidence.
Netflix is actually trying to find a series that will have longevity. Like go for 5 seasons and people love it, like Stranger Things. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're plowing money into.
Well, they had it, but they Cobra Kai. Many people said it could go for 7, 8, 9.
It wasn't really theirs, though.
But what they do is they just throw it all in one go.
Yeah, but it wasn't really theirs, though. It came from YouTube and whoever produced that, and it was, they just licensed the space out. At I don't know how it works, but it's not really theirs. But what Netflix is looking for is looking for a show that is just as popular as Stranger Things, so we can just keep going. Do you know what I mean? And people could come to the channel. That's why they're putting money into things that they think is going to be like that.
Yeah, and there's 20
Cowboy
seasons
Bebop.
of One Piece. So,
Wow,
I mean, if the live action turns out to be good, you've got 20 seasons of adaptation to do. But the problem is it's Netflix doing a live action version of a beloved anime, and that has not got a good track record.
And they're going to do it badly as well, like they did Cowboy Bebop. Because I saw one episode of that and I thought, this is not the cartoon.
It was bad.
It was the universal response to that. It's like,
you watched too much.
What am I watching?
Yeah, I watched the whole season. You watched too much with one episode. It was bad. It was really, really bad.
So, right then, folks. So, Strange New Worlds, I want it to be good. It's not going to be good. It's cack. Should we move on? We got a little bit bogged down.
Even
in
that poster is
Yeah, that poster is bad.
Let's move on, folks.
Moving on.
Be warned. Spoilers.
Ian said it's going to pass 1 billion, but it's not even going to pass £2 over here.
Melvin Deeply said it was going to do over 1 million as well.
Well, it'll do over 1 million. I think that's
billion,
fairly safe.
sorry.
Yeah,
The
of course.
billion is probably
no thanks.
One spoilers, folks, and there's quite a lot of articles, and then we'll get onto the weekly stuff. So be warned. So if you've not seen it and you want to watch it,
Well, for a meta joke, you could just skip straight to the next slide and claim that we did it, and we just did it in the Flash's time.
Oh my goodness!
It would be a
No, you
better
didn't.
meta joke than any of the meta jokes in the film, but
you want me to skip the next slide then? Yes.
We could
No.
run really fast and go backwards and make sure that we put the tin of tomatoes on the top shelf. That's what we could do. I mean, so
Finally, folks. Finally.
there you go.
And finally.
That was good.
you have to put the stream at 0.25 speed, and then you'll actually get the rest of it.
Yeah.
Should we do the and finally first? Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby in the microwave.
Who is that little cutie pie and that old man next to him?
Love the hat, mate. Love the hat.
Thanks.
That was
My-
like full fanboy. It
Yeah,
was
my
cute.
son is so funny because he was all like, where are my flash glasses? And I was like, I don't know where your flash glasses are. Like, it was like 20 minutes before we were going to leave. And he was like searching all over the place. And then I was like, they're right here on the table. And so it was really, he loved it. I loved it. He was really fun. Although I will say he was so cute because every time Barry swore in the movie, he'd go, he said a naughty word. And I was like, he did say a naughty word. And at the end, he goes, I go, did you like it? And he's like, it was awesome. The Flash has a potty mouth. And I was like, he does have a potty mouth, buddy. We don't talk like
in
that.
real
Go.
life.
You actually, you are evil. Because now, as I go through my 30,000 word script recording it, in the back of my mind, I'm going to imagine that your kid is starting to cry, and I'm being mean about the film he really liked, and I'm going to feel terrible now. So thank you so much.
You need some accountability, Lord. Here you go, folks. John Z, is it John Z in the chat? Great show, everybody. Thanks for all the fun. Take care. Yeah?
Hold on
See you
now.
next time, folks.
Platoon, if it makes you feel better, he loved Transformers, and I hated Transformers. So,
How'd you punish him for that?
he had
Took
to
his glasses away.
Had to sit in timeout.
Here you go, folks. Bank of Hostman for $5. I was right. It's a bargain bin Flashpoint
It is.
paradox.
Mhm.
Read the Flashpoint comics and watch the animated movie for the superior version of this story.
Yeah, the animated movie is really good.
It is really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the comic books are really good. If you ever read that comic book, I mean, they dive really, like, they have so many characters that you see the alternate versions of them. It's really cool what they do with some of them, but yeah, it's really good.
Can I ask a question?
No.
You're going to.
I know I am. The guy that played his father in the Zack thing, right?
Yes.
That is what it is.
Snyder Cut, yeah.
Is that a different actor? And also,
Yep.
the woman that played Iris suddenly put on 10 pounds or 50 pounds.
You know what?
whatever.
I thought the same
Yeah.
thing.
I
But
I thought that too. I was like, whoa.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
Billy
doesn't
Crudup.
the Flash have some sort of treadmill she can use?
Yeah.
It's all
I'm
about
like,
snacking.
Geez, you eat as much as I do, he said.
This girl is not attractive at all. I was like, where's Flash seeing this girl? She's
Yeah.
just
Well, she
horrible.
was pretty in the Zack Snyder one.
She was,
And
sure.
then-
Yeah, it was
And
the
was
same
anybody
chick.
was anybody else like they have no chemistry together, like whatsoever? Like the whole
absolutely.
time I'm all
They
like,
really
do they even?
don't.
I was like, do they even like each other? Because I don't even think they like each other. Let
well,
alone.
Most,
I
isn't it?
mean, even that was tricky enough. So that her presence confirms that the Snyder Cut is canon for this film.
Yes. Right.
Exactly.
Because they reference the sausage scene. I called a slow-mo sausage god in my script because I can't remember. I really don't care. But they reference the sausage scene, which is the only time they've met each other
Yes.
since
That's the
college.
thing.
So the reason they have no chemistry is that they, as far as she knows, she doesn't know they have met each other really since
She
college,
feels
but she has a vague sense that
Yeah.
they have. So part of the reason for them being no chemistry in universe is that this is the first time they've met each other for however many years. The actual reason is I don't think she can act at all, and Ezra Miller acts
she's
selectively.
terrible.
So
Yeah.
Also, they shot all that stuff in England. Because
Glasgow.
all the places,
Glasgow.
was it Glasgow?
Yeah.
But there's one
That's why
shot.
Brian hated it.
Is it
I,
at the ending? Wasn't that in London? The shot at the ending with spoilers, Clooney? Because it looked like a place that I know in London.
Possibly.
Yeah,
Here
we
you go,
know.
folks. Bishop Moore, as Mr. Brown asked, I went to see The Flash. Oh, here we go. I laughed at and with the I laughed out.
I laughed
sorry,
at
I laughed
and
at
with
and
the Flash movie. So he
Okay.
laughed at it, and he
Right,
sometimes
okay,
laughed
sorry,
with it.
it's me being stupid. Should have been loads better, not money well spent. Oh
Wow.
dear.
Baby in the microwave. That's all I can say.
See, I listen. I just want to say,
Listen.
Listen.
I just want to say, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. I mean, it was fun. It was
Shall we
exciting.
move back some slides?
It gave. I thought it was a good time. I really liked the story. I thought Keaton, he was my favorite part. I thought he was great, and I,
Well, you
I
liked
definitely.
Aquaman, so there you go.
Aquaman was
Yeah,
amazing.
know
You
what?
stop
It was
that
a
right
fun
now.
Movie. It really was a fun movie.
Well,
And Jason
somebody's
Momoa.
got to.
Come on.
Yeah, I genuinely liked
Flash
it. I
of
thought
it.
it was, and I understand people's criticism of it. I have some criticisms myself, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I laughed at a couple of parts that were meant to be laughed at. I thought the actors did a good job for their part, and I genuinely liked this movie. And yeah, that's my story. on that.
The second half is not even the second. The second half is okay. The first half is absolute nonsense, and the ending.
You think so?
Yeah, the ending is just. It's so obvious that they had a different ending for this film. Because if you look at the ending,
3.
yeah, they had 3 endings, and it's so obvious that they wanted this timeline to be the DC thing going forward. That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, but with George Clooney as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, like what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm
No,
not
no,
understanding that one.
But that was a late edition because
Right.
because I went to see this before it was released, and I was privileged to see was George Clooney coming out the car. But other people that saw had special screenings. The film stops there when you see the dude come out of the car.
Oh, okay.
So I reckon that was a late edition.
Yeah.
They added that.
Gorgeous
before it was-
George.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he plays Bruce Wayne, and this
Yeah.
is supposed to be the new DC universe. So is he Batman now? Like
No,
what
That's
does
what
that
I
even
wanna
mean?
know.
It's so
No.
confusing
No.
and stupid.
No, that was an addition because.
Oh,
knew
I
it
know.
wasn't
I'm
going
just
forward. Yeah.
I'm
so-
criticizing their choice to do that
right.
just for the sake of the claps.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the problem is that because I mean you're right, they did do it just for the sake of the claps, but that one scene is the result of them wrecking the entire 2-hour film before, and it's probably the worst. This film has one of the, if not the single strongest scene of any superhero film, and that's when Flash has to reverse what he did.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
basically has to condemn his mother to death because only by
Yeah.
doing
that's
that
very well
that was
done.
powerful.
it makes absolutely no fucking sense, but it's a really powerful scene.
I agree.
I will hold that scene up against almost any Marvel film, certainly
Completely
better than
agree.
any current DC film, any previous DC film. That's a brilliant scene.
Mhm.
It's the culmination of the Flash's journey. This film doesn't have a storyline in the sense that it progresses things forward. It's set outside of time, and so what it does. It takes that as its opportunity and as its excuse to focus exclusively on Barry Allen's character journey. That's its reason for being. We need to have him go on an arc at the expense of a story that actually leads anywhere. That's forgivable. Like I was prepared to forgive that. And they do it reasonably well with his character. None of the film makes sense, but his character's good. He starts off as this naive kid who's so desperate to put the wrongs of the past right, and to grow up in a loving family home that he goes back in time and creates this huge problem that he should have anticipated, but he didn't, but whatever. He eventually comes to realize throughout the course of the film that he has to live with this sacrifice. He has to accept that you cannot fix everything, and that for the greater good, he will put aside the problems of his present and save history, essentially. It's a strong character arc. And then in the very last scene, just before the last scene, the thing that absolutely ruins all of it is that he condemns his mum to death, he reverses the thing that he did, and then he proves he didn't learn a single fucking lesson
by rearranging the tomatoes.
And then lo and behold, he's created another universe and all the problems have started again. And then I sat there thinking, what the hell have I just spent 2 hours of my life watching?
Yep.
Also, the reason why they have that gag with the other guy that was in what's his name? The other guy that was in Back to the Future. What's his name again?
Eric Stoltz.
Eric
I thought
Stoltz
that
is
was
because
interesting. Yeah.
that gag was leading somewhere towards the ending. I was told the original ending. That's where it was leading, and so it doesn't make any sense anymore now that joke's in the film because it doesn't make any sense. So,
right, they just left it in to help paint the fact that it's a different universe. Yeah.
Super chat, if I may, from Dark Hour for $2.63. I just got back from Vegas. Vegas. Here's what I have left.
Whores are expensive.
Very good.
Oh,
Very good.
Lordy.
And Bank of Hostman for $5. I saw the film because I heard Ezra Miller out a woman in 4K in one scene. It's a lie. 0 out of.
But I believe you can find that clip on YouTube. So
You can
Yeah.
also just watch my review because I put it in there.
I put it in mine too.
oh, it's in mine as well. Yeah.
Okay,
obviously.
look. We all know he's a complete and utter wazzock.
Yeah,
For
and I
sure.
think that's why it didn't make as much money as it could have, is because
I
people
agree.
don't personally like him or respect him
agree.
because he's just a
Also,
weirdo.
what does it
Yeah,
say
I
about
know.
that world, right? That everyone's going to die because Zod has taken over that world.
Yeah.
It's like, and also when he went to the Speed Force, I thought the TV version done it much better. The Speed Force, it looks like he was in some kind of, I don't know, arena or something like that.
Looked
I was like,
pretty
what the hell is this?
Yeah, it
It's the
reminded
thing,
me of
everything
those.
around him is animated on
Oh.
the PlayStation 3. It looks
Because it
looks
looked like-
abysmal. It makes no goddamn sense because it's never shown how he can possibly hope to navigate between the timelines the film explains have been created. Also, the whole multiversal thing in this is just absolutely batshit insane. If anything, it's worse than Multiverse of Madness for the way it completely disregards the rules it itself sets out. So, old Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton himself, explains that if you change the events of the past, that means that you're not branching history. You are creating an entirely separate timeline with retrocausality, which means you've changed history and you've changed the future. The film goes on to pretend that that isn't what's happened. Because if it is what's happened, then it means he's already done it twice
That's
in the
it.
Snyder
Mhm.
Cut.
That was
Exactly.
it.
No, Platoon. Someone in my comments. This is the brain power that people are dealing with here. So someone in my comments said, "Actually, idiot, in Snyder's Justice League, he didn't go back in time. He reversed time to change what happened."
That's the same
I
goddamn.
know.
We're still time travel.
I just
Why?
remembered,
Still time travel.
I just remembered that joke in Back to the Future was meant to
McFly.
it was meant to talk about Twin Pines Mole. And in Back to the Future, remember when he changes the
that's a good
future,
joke,
becomes
that.
single. Was it single?
Lone Pine
Lone
Mall.
Pine Mall.
Yeah.
And it was meant to connect to that gag at the ending when he
That's
realized he
very good, is
wasn't
that?
in the same universe that he came from. I
That
think.
would've
Here
been
you go,
cool.
folks. R2 for $2. Mad Goose Wizard plus failed DCEU equals 55 million open.
Yeah.
That
Am
is
I right in
rough.
thinking it's underperformed Ant-Man even by quite a considerable way?
Oh no, it half performed what Ant-Man did.
Oh, dear.
Literally,
Ian,
half.
you were
Ant-Man
wrong
opened
then.
to 110.
Billions. You were saying it was going to make a billion.
Listen, I'm frequently wrong.
Well, I'll be honest, as much advertisement and excitement that they tried to create for it, I mean, I figured it was going to just do a normal superhero movie type weekend, and I was wrong for thinking that, but it really did seem like it was going to be on track for that. And I guess, again, Ezra Miller's personal choices and craziness seem to play a part in that.
It's affecting it, yes.
Yeah,
The thing
and
is, there's that and the fact that it's completely pointless going forward because no one cares about this universe. This
There is
universe
that,
has
yeah.
no
well,
future.
because James Gunn is killing the Snyderverse, which I understand he wants to do his own thing, but honestly, I don't think he's going to do any better, and I could be wrong.
I
But
think his costume looks stupid.
It
I
does,
think
it
his
looks
costume
horrible.
looks
Yeah.
A little bit.
really
Um,
stupid.
I also found it weird that this movie has a lot of reverence for the Snyderverse, which most people, the general audiences, don't like. So I thought it was really weird that they're like, you remember in Endgame when they went back in time and they saw, it was like a walk down memory lane for all MCU fans to kind of relive moments of the past. And it was a love letter to the franchise. Well, this kind of does that. And it's like, but no one loves that. No one loves the Snyderverse. That's why it's ending, because people fucking hate it.
well, I mean, I
I know
like the
you do.
Snyderverse.
I hate
fine,
it.
but
I'm so glad it's dead.
to each their own. So it didn't bother me that it hooked up to that stuff, but that's not the direction that Warner Brothers and DC is going. So it didn't make sense to do that.
Yeah.
But
I did think Supergirl was quite.
We'll get to that in a
sexy.
bit.
I
looked
found
She should have
her,
had longer hair though. 'cause
I
she
found her
looks a
kind
bit
of
like a boy.
off-putting. Yeah, she looked like a boy.
Yeah.
What?
And I found her
I thought she looked
off-putting.
hot.
She looked
I mean,
hot. What are
she-
you talking about?
She was
She has
smoking.
boobs, but
I
I liked when they showed the old school Supergirl, the original
Yeah, I just
one.
prefer.
Oh, I love
And
that.
she had the right outfit. Supergirl always wore a skirt back in the day. That was it. This one just wears a unitard with a freaking cape.
I think she was hot, but I think she should have had longer hair. She would have looked even
Yeah,
hotter if she
she
had
would have
longer
been
I
more
agree with
feminine.
that.
Yeah. she wasn't very feminine, in my opinion, other than the fact that she has boobs.
No, it's interesting because it reveals which people look at faces and which people look at anything below the neck.
Yeah.
So
I look at faces.
I think I'm with you,
Yeah.
Rennie. I think she's fairly attractive, but I didn't think she looked
What do you
particularly.
know?
I didn't think she looked particularly feminine, though, which might
She's
be
very
why I think she's quite
androgynous to me.
attractive. Everything below, I can take or leave. But my problem with her was
You'd
that
probably leave
this is supposed to be quite a
Leave it for
pivotal
me, bro.
character. I think she's quite well performed, and for what time they have with her, I think they introduce her reasonably well. But she comes in with half an hour left of the film. And so there's
Right.
no time to actually do anything really
She got
with her
stabbed
character.
3 times.
She was just a plot
Yes.
device. She wasn't even a
Yeah.
real character in the movie.
Here you go, folks.
Agreed.
Side feeds. How many would Mr. Brown give her? Out of 10, I'd give her 1.
She did have some nice
What?
boobs, though. You got to admit.
Aw,
She had
you
a great
guys.
ass too, bro. I was just saying. She looked
I'm
amazing in that
she's
costume.
so pretty though. Like
Her
she's
legs are
very
great.
cute.
Everything was
You
just
can
great.
use those boobs and do a Rocky on them, can't you?
Oh my God.
May I say what I enjoyed about the
I
movie?
do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I watched the opening sequence with Batman tearing it up, I thought, God, I'd die for a decent Batman movie.
Yeah.
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 Just give us another, even Batfleck, because I quite liked Batfleck, and just the action sequence. I thought, come on, for fuck's sake, just give us a good act.
He gets
Good, yeah.
worse, a
Come
worse
on.
reputation than he deserves as Batman. I think Ben
Yeah, I thought it
Affleck
was
is pretty
great.
decent
I
Batman.
think that he is actually overpraised. I
agree.
think he's trash as
Oh, I
Batman,
don't know
and he
about
looks
that.
absolutely ridiculous in
Yeah,
that
but you like
costume.
Pattinson.
No, I have.
No, I
to
also
agree.
like Bale and Keaton. Hell, I
No, I
like
do like
Val
Christian
Kilmer
Bale.
over Ben Affleck.
Oh, come on.
I
That's,
have
that's
to
a
agree
good
with-
What about Clooney?
I have to agree
No,
with Matt. I
Clooney
think
was
the
bad.
costume sucks. When he stood up off his bike, I thought,
No, it
what
looks
the
so
hell is he
That was
wearing?
to
I-
hide how much weight he's put on.
It did, but no, but
Probably.
that's a question of directing and lighting. So the problem that this film has, and the entire DCU post Zack Snyder has, is that all of the characters and all of the suits were designed for Zack Snyder's universe, and Zack Snyder has a very particular, very dark film style, which
Yes.
involves no more than one light on set at any given moment, and it's basically black and white throughout. So all of the suit designs are designed not to be seen in real life. They're designed to be seen in shadows, and so that suit could be forgivable if you'd had anything much darker than it actually was in the thing. But they set some of the most pivotal scenes in broad daylight, in one case in the bright blue Arctic sunshine,
Yeah.
which just reveals
Yes.
A, how bad the CGI work is, and B, how terribly these suits are designed for light angles. And it's not meant to be shot that way. And it's the same thing with when Joss Whedon takes over the Snyder Cut and produces Justice League. The
Oh,
same problem.
yes.
He lights everything up, and then all of a sudden, everyone who might have looked good in a very, very sort of color drained setting
Looks very cheesy.
like cartoony and like something from a Nintendo game, and it just
if-
doesn't work. I thought
Yeah.
the Batman in that first scene, the first sort of opening act of this film, is probably the most fun. Ben
Yeah, it's
Affleck
my
has.
favorite.
Yeah,
It's my
I
favorite.
know.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Give us I'd just love to see a movie like that. I
Yeah, the
will
problem
say,
is they then break him because obviously the Flash finds out he can go back in time and change things, which they should already know because he's done it twice already. But putting that
Yeah,
to
and
one
he did
side,
it in Batman
Then-
versus Superman as well.
he did that. He did it twice, and twice in the Snyder Cut. Now it's presented
Yep.
as new information. But anyway, he meets up with Bruce after the sort of the hijinks of the opening, and says, "Look, I think I can go back and change this stuff." And Bruce says, "No, that's a really, really terrible idea. You'll break everything." And Ezra says, "What?" Flash says, "Yeah, but I really want to do it." And Bruce says, "No, you really shouldn't. This is like the most dangerous thing you could possibly do." And Flash says, "Well, yeah, but I really want my parents. I'm desperate to do it." And then Bruce says, "Okay, fine, I'm going home."
Well, and
And
it
then-
doesn't make
well,
sense, right?
hang
Because
on
the
a
Flash
minute.
is actually really smart or really intelligent in the comics. And if he was smart enough to figure it out, he would have listened to Bruce and been like, "Oh, you know what? That is a
Oh yeah,
good idea.
That's, so
Say.
there's two angles of critique there. One is from the Flash's point of view, and then one is from Bruce's point of view. Bruce has just found out the Flash A can go back in time, and B is going to do it basically unless somebody stops him. And he
No
also
matter
knows
what.
how dangerous it is. And yet when Flash says, "Do you want to go for dinner?" he says, "Nah, I can't be bothered," and he just fucks off, thereby ensuring that the rest of the film can happen, which is not what Bruce should do. From Flash's point of view, it's fine that he's desperate, and I think that's well conveyed, that he's very desperate to get his parents back. It's clearly cutting him up. I like that as a setup. But he goes and does it, and then you have to sort of think, well, is he not really aware of the full consequences of what can happen? He thinks time is linear, maybe. If you believe that, then it kind of works, except that later in the film he says, "I've read all about time travel. I've read
Yes.
all about temporal paradoxes. and reverse causality.
But,
so he knows exactly what will happen, but
I
forgets
think he
that he
just
knows
doesn't
that to do it
care.
in the first
but
place.
it
And
doesn't make
emotional
any
reaction.
sense, right? Because Barry Allen's meant to be extremely intelligent. He's bumbling.
Yes,
But he's meant to be
really
extremely
smart in the
intelligent, right? And he
comics.
knows about loads of stuff. Like if you look at the TV show, they portrayed him absolutely right, not like the comics, but more or less. But in this, he is so thick. He is absolutely stupid.
He's like, but
in
I
this
want to
film.
do it. I
Yeah,
have to do it. I have
it
to
doesn't
save
make
my
any
mom.
sense. You know what I mean? It's just how stupid could you be? Do you
If
know?
I
So-
may, I thought the acting from what's his face Miller was pretty good.
What there?
I
I
agree.
agree. And
Yeah.
I will say, I haven't really had a chance to say my say like everybody else, but I actually did
have.
enjoy this. No, I haven't. You guys keep cutting me off. But like,
Wait a moment.
Let us speak.
okay, Brown. So I actually enjoyed this movie as well, Brown. And I was actually impressed that Ezra Miller's acting was fairly on point. I think I tried to go into it with a blank slate, but I'll be honest, I'm one of those people, I'm like, oh, he's such a horrible person and a creepy
Douche.
person. How is this going to be good? Was sitting at the back of my head. But it actually was fairly well acted. Yes, I didn't like the fact that they replaced Billy Crudup. I liked him as his dad in Justice League, but and I didn't really like the guy. I think the guy that played his dad in this one is from Office Space, so I don't really care for that actor.
Ron Livingston.
Yeah.
Yes, not a big Ron Livingston fan, I guess. And he just seems to kind of always have that like kind of look about him.
Office Space
So
look.
exactly, in everything
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
does, and he needs to mix it up, but he just can't do it. But I loved his interactions with not Ben Affleck's Batman, but I did like his interactions with his former self or his younger self. Thought that was pretty interesting because
Yeah.
I think it's got to be really hard to play against yourself, especially when you can't duplicate yourself. So who do you play off of, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty hard thing to do. At least it would be for me, but I'm not an actress. But I also enjoyed his back and forth with Michael Keaton. I thought Michael Keaton did a great job. And I
Yes.
don't remember who, but somebody said that they compared him to Jake Skywalker in this movie. And I said, I was thinking there's no way that that's possible. Yes, at first he was like, obviously Alfred died, right? Because he was basically just fending for himself. So he was probably depressed that he had no one in his life to really, I guess, care for or care about or care for him. But I thought that he turned it around. He didn't turn into just a grumpy old man and not give a crap about anything or anyone. And, Flash inspired him to want to get back into this and to help save, humanity again. And I thought that was a pretty interesting arc. And I'll be honest, I was really fangirling over the old school, like Batman
Right.
music. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, they're using Danny Elfman's music. This is awesome. So
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
really
with you.
enjoyed that.
I'm with you most of the way on that. I understand the comparisons for Jake Skywalker because I think actually when we first encounter Michael Keaton's Batman, those comparisons do work.
Because at
and I
first
think
he's given
that's
up.
a shame.
Yeah.
But the reasons for his giving up though are not great. So Alfred is dead in this one. We know that. But the reason, as stated by him, is that he's retired because Gotham is just safe now. So there's no need for a Batman. So he doesn't need to do anything. I thought that's where the Jake Skywalker comparisons come in, because I'm thinking, look, this is a guy who is not solely motivated by localized crime. If Gotham is so safe, fine. But you're telling me that his response to that is just to go and drink and retire and be miserable, as opposed to taking the fight against crime beyond Gotham. I think that's what he would have done. But I'm with you that they do recover him, and I like the fact that they do give him a little mini arc to go through.
He had a
It's one of the
redemption.
stronger, less sort of. It's not
Well,
overstated. It's quite
that bit in
understated.
The kitchen, though.
The
that
kitchen
bit in
is dumb.
was just really
But
stupid. I was
It
like,
was
It's a
dumb.
relatively, it's a muted
like
little
the
arc,
kitchen
but
scene.
so
I did
his
like
arc is
him.
basically you start with him being miserable and sad, but he agrees to go on the mission to help find Superman.
And then he finds
There's problems
himself
with that,
again.
but then he
you
finds
know?
himself, and you show that, but he doesn't say it ever, which is quite clever. They just show him looking for the first time, kind of awake and alive. and
I
slightly
did
more
like what he
happy.
said when he died, though, because he was like, I need to bring you back. And he's like, you already dead.
Yeah.
And that was a
Yeah, I like
great
that.
sign-off
Yeah.
line. Even though I was like, oh no, he's dying.
Yeah.
If I may, Zach's for 550. I think these are definitely Californian woke dollars. Did how badly the Flash TV series went impact the appetites for the
No,
film?
I don't think
No.
so. I feel like they're besides the core DC fans, I think those are pretty two different audiences.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
The first
uh,
2 seasons of Flash was really good.
They are.
My theatre was full of about 7 people, all my age.
Yeah,
I
all
saw
my
it
age.
Monday, so
See,
I,
mine
like,
was
it was
all
a packed
different
theater.
ages.
So they were all going to see Keaton.
I
Yeah,
think
there wasn't
too.
many in the cinema when I went to see it either.
There wasn't many in this, but I went the first showing, which was like 10 o'clock in the morning, so there wasn't that many people there either. I just want to say, I really liked, I know a lot of people, like, I really liked Keaton in this movie. He was so
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
I know you guys didn't like the kitchen scene, but I love that kitchen scene.
I
when
liked
he's
it.
just-
It was
when he's
very
just-
humane.
when he's
Falls on
just
the table, he falls flat on
Yeah,
his
when he's
face.
just
I'm
bumbling
like, what the
around.
hell?
Yeah, he's
Well, he's-
obviously been drinking,
Yeah.
and nobody can
Well,
fight
and he's
right
out
when
of
Why
they're
is he
practice,
drinking.
drinking?
right? So
Because he had a good
What happened
day.
to Vicky
okay?
Vale? What happened
Yeah,
to the rest
if he
of the
doesn't,
She
if
got
he doesn't
fat.
get intruders, why has he left his mansion unlocked? Like, why
Because
can't they
he-
just
because
walk
he
into
just
the
doesn't
street
care
and
because
grab
he's
it?
Batman.
There's no crime anymore. So
yeah.
But he cares
Go
enough
ahead.
to fight off intruders.
Exactly.
because
But
they're in
he
his
doesn't care enough to
house. That's
stop-
his.
Yeah, but no, that's the problem, which is that if he didn't give a shit, why does he even care that they're there? If he
Well,
does give a shit, why is the house open?
he might
This
have
is a
had the
minor
whole-
quibble, by the way, but it's a quibble.
For sure.
He
for
might
sure.
have had the whole attitude, well, nobody ever comes out here, because keep in mind, at least in like the way that they portray it in the movies, like the Wayne Manor is way out in the boondocks, right? How else are you going
sure.
to hide the Batmobile, right? In
Yeah.
the Batcave. So he lives way out in the boondocks, and he's probably like, well, nobody's going to come here unless they need to, and nobody's been here
No,
for
you
X amount of
Yeah.
years or whatever. So
You would still have security.
You would, and then also because it's not just the fact that they gain entry and then he tries to fight them off. It's after they've had the fight and they've had the chat and he explains a multiverse that I have no idea how he understands because it doesn't work anyway because it makes no fucking sense. But then they say, "Well, come and help us," and he says, "Nah," and he walks off. And then they go to the Batcave ostensibly to steal all his
exactly.
stuff, and he knows
Just
they've
lets
done it
them,
because he
yeah.
watches them on camera, and he just sits in his bedroom going, "Nah." But
I
even
never
if you-
thought.
And
Every time I'm going to eat spaghetti now, I'm going to think of a multi-universe.
I know I had spaghetti last night.
I ate spaghetti after the movie too. It
good to
was
see the
great.
Batmobile again.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, and the
He didn't use it,
Batwing.
though, no.
Yeah, I want to
Um,
say, like, can I just real quick talk about Keaton? Can I just gush over him for a second?
Listen.
I really loved when they were in Russia and they were fighting in that little like tunnel or whatever. And
Yes.
it just made me want another Michael Keaton Batman movie, like so bad. Like I was like, this is what a third Batman movie could have been like if they had done Batman Forever with Keaton in it. And I just was
Instead of
like,
Kilmer.
yeah, and they could totally do it again. Like right now, they could just totally have him in there. I would watch it. You would watch it. Everybody would
Dude,
watch it.
he was
It'd be
totally
great.
badass in this
Yeah,
movie.
it was
I think.
great.
Yeah.
I loved every minute of it, and I was just like, they should just green light another Michael Keaton Batman movie.
Well, he
They
has
should.
strong demographic appeal as well, because there's a
Yes.
reason that you're seeing a number of action films come out in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, which are featuring older male action heroes. Taken as an example, even John Wick is an example. You've got the
Expendables 4 is
Expendables is
coming
another
out.
good example. And that's because we are an aging population, and men are underserved by most modern films, and men do quite like to see that people roughly of their own age can still
So
be
does
superheroes.
women.
They might still, they might make knowing jokes about joint pain, but they're still able to beat up the young kids if they really need to, and that's what men like to hear. I reckon there would be a huge amount of appeal for an actual Michael Keaton Batman film now, who is an older
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, how
I thought
much-
that
Straight into
straight
that.
away.
I think that
How
would be
much
really
money
good.
would this have made if he wasn't in this movie?
Oh, I
Probably
don't-
not
Less.
much.
Probably 30 million opening.
I think
dare
Keaton
say.
is honestly the biggest draw of this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, he was mine.
I agree with all of you guys about how wonderful it was to see him again. I think he is the best part of this movie. My biggest problem was you could have replaced him with pretty much anybody because he didn't actually have a particular impact on Barry Allen's story. He was really just there. Like, even if he has his own little arc and everything, I also didn't even like how it concluded because he went out like a bitch.
He did.
Like, this is how you conclude my Michael Keaton Batman. Fuck you.
Well, remember at first he went
on
out
that
like in an
timeline,
explosion,
on that
right?
timeline.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Yeah,
you
but
see.
right, that's the problem. Is that like, is this even the '89 Batman, or is it like a variant of
Don't
the
It's not.
'89
know.
Batman?
It's
Right.
not.
It would be a
It's
variant.
Right,
not. Yeah, it's a
so
variant.
exactly.
It's a
So it
variant.
doesn't even matter.
He's a spaghetti string.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
can I also just say one more thing about Ezra Miller's acting? Listen, I really liked. I'm just gonna piggyback on
His
what
acting
Rennie
was
had
great.
said. Yeah, I thought it was
I'm
great.
going to stick my neck out and say his acting was
Yeah,
great.
it was great. This is the role that I wanted to see him do right after We Need to Talk About Kevin and Perks of a Wallflower. Is this right here, because it was in a big blockbuster movie, although it didn't make the money for it, but it was in a big blockbuster movie, and I thought his acting was really good. And like Rennie said, playing off yourself can't be that easy. And I think that his interaction with himself was really, really good, and I personally enjoyed it, and I thought he did a great job. Unfortunately, his crazy took over the movie, and I don't know who said it, but I do think that a lot of people didn't go. I think Rennie said it, but I do think a lot of people didn't see this movie because of his craziness. I know one person, my eldest brother, he did not go see this movie because he was like, Ezra Miller's
the girl in Hawaii didn't go see it.
Yeah,
the visual effects with both of them on screen is amazing. I can't figure out how they did it.
That's where all the budget went.
For sure.
It was very good. There you go, folks. Bishop Moore, they should have continued with doing the Batman Beyond film. Yeah, Keaton Batman Beyond. $1 billion.
Just piggybacking off of what Matt was saying, because I think it's a good point. I've actually got a part in my script where I'm saying, look, I am going to take the piss out of Ezra Miller a lot in this review. It has actually nothing to do with his performance in the film, because if anything, he's one of the stronger components in the film.
Agreed.
That playing off of himself, it is a very difficult thing to do. I think it gets better as it goes on, because at the beginning, the younger Flash is just even more insufferable than the usual Flash is.
Yes.
And the difference is actually too stark to be really useful or meaningful. But as they move on, they bring them a bit closer together, and that's when the subtleties of the performance come out. And I think that's played very well. He plays that very well, but it's also written fairly well as well, because it's a fairly simple but quite clever device to use to show how much more mature he's become over the course of this film, is to put him directly opposite a version of himself who has not matured in the same way. And it's a good way of showing his character development, his character growth. I liked that.
That's what I said.
I liked how he noticed how annoying he can be to other people via his younger self. I like that.
Yep. And I thought it was a really cool writing and directing trick to do that, because you can only work with what you're given. And this was the version of the Flash that was already set up in the Justice League and Batman versus Superman movie. So what do? If it's a time travel movie, now you can put all of that obnoxiousness onto the younger one, and it actually presents the mainline Flash as a more mature version.
I almost thought the Barry Allen Prime, the first one, kind of grew up in the 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's too late though, because this isn't going nowhere.
Yeah. Also, he did right up until the point when they decided that he didn't, which is still just sticks in my head as
Blows
the
your
most
mind.
self-destructive thing.
Can
What
I
was
ask you
that
guys
ending all
something?
about? What's that ending all about?
Well,
With,
I need to ask you guys something. Like, what was
Mr.
the purpose
Fishman.
of Aquaman? Yeah, see,
Yeah.
The
that's
purpose
where
of
you were tuning
Aquaman
in.
to set up the sequel to remind everyone, like, hey, this is kind of a different
that was
Aquaman,
awful.
but it's pretty much the same one, so you can still go see that movie, okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Well,
Also, even the post-credit scene breaks the film, because the reason that he believes he has to go back and reset what he did for his mother is that if he saves his mother, if he changes the past, then he will create a world with no metahumans in it. At the end of the film, he changes the past and goes into another alt universe where metahumans still exist, thereby proving he can change the past while keeping them in existence, so theoretically can go back and save his mother in a way that doesn't lead to the destruction of the world. And that's another problem with the film, because the film doesn't understand its own multiverse rules. It portrays it as, well, it's fate. His mother has to die, otherwise the world dies. But then every piece of evidence it gives you tells you you could just go back to a different time period, save her in a different way.
Yeah.
The result will be entirely different. So why wouldn't he try that again?
I'd like
Would
to
the
see the
re- I
thought
original
of that
ending,
as
though.
well.
I wonder what the original ending was like.
Yeah, I was going to say, would the rewrites, which I can't say, affected the overall?
It did. I
timey-wimey?
was told some people that worked on it. I was told that it was. Look, so the two people that took over Warner Brothers, it was a Chinese guy, Asian guy, and there was someone else, wasn't it? And they were
What,
determined to
Leonardo-
kick Yeah, kick
Hamada.
Henry Cavill out of the
Yeah.
DC
Right.
universe. They were determined. So this film was going to end up being DC going forward on this timeline. That was what I was told. I don't know if that's true, but it does seem like it when you watch this film because the ending
that's
is
the
so
impression I
bad.
got. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you remember, they had outside set photos of Sasha Calais and Michael Keaton's Batman showing up at the courthouse at the end, and that was, and then I don't know if you guys saw on Discussing Film, but they had also put out another. They had put out a tweet that said one of the other endings was supposed to be Sasha Calais, Supergirl, Henry Cavill, Superman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and then Michael Keaton. Oh, sorry, I apologize. I skipped ahead. Sorry, my bad.
Shall we proceed a little bit? Because
just do it. Let's do it.
One more thing, very quickly, because it's on the same subject
change the poster
as the cut content.
There you go,
thing,
different posters coming out.
There's lots of evidence in the film of ideas that they had. I don't know if they ever did a script where the ideas were brought to fruition, or whether they were always just half-thought ideas. I think one of the main ones is that they were trying, in one version of this story, to set up a budding romance between younger Flash and Supergirl.
Himself.
Right.
Because there's one, or himself, but no, between him and Supergirl, there's a couple of bits of evidence that there's a couple of bashful scenes between them, and he's the one who runs to her after she dies the first time, and that's the thing that triggers him into going on his mad quest to keep fixing the timeline until he becomes the villain. Which would work if they'd actually followed through with it, because the motive he has at that period is not the death of the mother, because he doesn't bring that up until later, and he says, well, of course I knew about that. That's not what I'm interested in. I think what they wanted to do is create this burgeoning relationship which makes her death impact him a huge amount more than it's shown to do in the film, and that explains his very drastic actions right at the end, which are very drastic and they're well performed, but I don't think they're substantiated, because the content that was supposed to make those properly done is just not in the film at all. So really, though it's dramatically effective, his arc doesn't make a huge amount of sense because they seem to have 5 different ideas and none of them actually really comes through in the script itself.
They rewrote the ending, that's why.
Yeah, I want to just say that talking about that, if you remember correctly, Lord and Miller had pitched something for a Flash movie way before they had done the Spider-Verse movies. They had pitched a movie to Warner Brothers, and then they had passed on them, or they left. I'm not quite sure what happened there. And then they went on to do the Spider-Verse, and there's some similarities there and everything. And then if you also remember, John Daly and John Goldstein, they also had entered negotiations to do this movie also, and I heard they had pitched something, along the lines of a multiverse movie. And then if you remember also, Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison, they had they had pitched their own ideas to the studio to save Ezra Miller as the Flash. I don't know if you guys remember this stuff. And they from what I understood from that one, they went on the horror aspect of it. So my thoughts are that Christina Hodson, the hack that she is, she just took whatever they had pitched to the studio, and she had just copy and pasted whatever they had pitched to them and made this hodgepodge of a storyline, and then she kind of doctored it up to make it a little bit cohesive. Because I mean, there are, like you had said, there are things in here that they could have worked with, but a lot of it doesn't. It just seems like we're trying to go one direction and then they went into another direction, and I think that those are the parts where the other person had the idea, if that makes any sense of what I just said.
Yeah. I have a question for everybody. What did you guys think of all the cameos, like Christopher Reeve, old school Supergirl,
Hated them.
Adam
Loved
West?
Loved
Hated
it.
them.
So bad.
not
The
necessarily.
CGI was so bad, it just took me out of it completely. I was like,
Oh man, who
Even-
cares? It was so good.
Even though I
What?
was expecting
was it good?
Nicolas Cage was just off-putting for me. I'm like, he is
What?
not Superman. I can't deal. But everyone else, I could tolerate.
Matt, I can give you my reasons for why I think it's bad. Why do you think it's good?
I think it's good for one. First off, seeing these characters again, just especially Christopher Reeves and
Yes.
Slater as Superman and Batgirl. That just warmed my heart just to see them on scene, on the screen and everything. Because I was just like, yay, I get to see them together and everything. Because we didn't get to see that in a movie.
It was kind of cool for me
Also, Superman Lives, I actually don't think that script is actually that bad. I actually think it's pretty decent. So I think that when they showed the CGI. And granted, I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best CGI ever, but I didn't hate it. But seeing Nicolas Cage as Superman, it just made me go, here is a thought of what could have been, and it was nice to see that for me personally. Oh, you should go read that script. It's not
but
that
he
good.
even
Here
had,
is a
like,
movie I
long
could have been
hair,
watching, and here
like-
I am watching The Flash.
I remember when those pics came out years and years ago of him with the like wig on or whatever and the Superman suit. It's like Superman doesn't have long hair. What is this? And he doesn't have the look for it either.
But that's
you know?
in the comic book there was a long period of time where he in the 90s where he did have long hair, and
yeah, that's
it was
true.
controversial
It wasn't
then.
a very
folks.
long stint though.
Cameos would have been better if the CGI was better. Yeah, especially
Yeah,
with the,
I agree with
Cage.
that.
Yeah, that was a bit.
But it was nice to see, like, even George Reeve from like that old Superman show, because my dad used to make me watch reruns of that show.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, you know, and it was
I'm
nice
sorry.
to pay homage to these actors, except for Nicolas Cage. But the thing that pissed me off about all of that as well, though, is for one, Christian Bale didn't get any respect as Batman, and number two,
probably
Henry
said
Cavill
no.
didn't.
He probably said no.
I mean, he might have, but
'Cause he knows
then again,
why.
you know, but Henry Cavill didn't get any
Adam
respect
West
either.
was in it as well.
That
Adam
was,
West.
yeah, he was in it, which was nice. But I just thought, well, that was kind of disrespectful to these two actors. I mean, Brandon Routh, I get why they left him out. Okay, because he was just basically Christopher Reeve incarnate, like in the newer movie that he did. But like,
Movie sucked,
you know, these
anyway.
other two guys, they could have, you know, paid them some sort of respect. I don't know. That's
They
just
could
my
have done,
thought
but
process.
the problem is that the scene isn't designed really to pay respect to any of these people. It's designed so that people on Twitter will go and say, "Hey, there's a cameo from so and so in the film. Go and watch it." It's the difference is always going to be: does it treat cameos in the way that Spider-Man: No Way Home did, or does it treat cameos in the way that Multiverse of Madness did?
Yeah.
And this is much closer to Multiverse of Madness because they don't need to be there. They don't change the plot, and ultimately, they are all done a disservice by the fact that they're just there to be there rather than there because they have a story to tell or some involvement in changing things.
And that's why I didn't like it, and also the CGI. I just thought,
They are
jangling
literally
those keys, folks.
Exactly. That's all they're there for. Because stuff like when you the conversation we had last week on Batman versus Superman, or at least the one that the partial amount that I was involved with, is like all of the undertones and things to discuss that that you do after you see a movie are like cherries on top to an already great film. Instead, those sorts of things, including nostalgia bait like these cameos, are the point of these movies. It should be beside the point. It should be just extra stuff where you're like, oh, that was also fun on top of this wonderful film. But this was hyped up during the promotions of like all these cameos. That means this was the reason to go see the movie, to make you go, oh, I remember. Oh, I remember. Oh,
Yeah.
I remember.
yeah, that's the reason. I mean, you've just hit the nail on the head there. That's the reason why they put it in there, and that's the reason why it doesn't work for me anyway.
I remember.
On the CGI point, because it's been mentioned a few times, the director is Andy Muschietti,
Machete.
Machete, that will do that. Addressed this point directly, but specifically in the context of the microwave baby scene, and said, no, it's supposed to look that way.
No,
because
it's
we're
not.
Well, no, I know
What?
it's not, but that his argument is it's supposed to look bad because we're seeing it through the Flash's point of view. The Flash is going really fast, and I guess that means that like his RAM can't handle the VFX rendering or something. I don't know exactly how that works, but the point is that it's supposed to look weird because we're seeing it through the Flash's POV, except that every other scene where we're not seeing it through his POV also looks shit. So that smacked me of a bullshit
if you've
explanation.
done as much rave drugs as I have, it was fine.
Seriously though,
It's just,
It was
you
fine.
know,
it's not. It's okay. The movie's okay. It's not great. It's just if you've got some spare time, go and watch it. But if you have something better to do, I reckon you should do something better.
It's
Shall
the weird
we,
thing about it, because it has such a strong emotional core to it, I still want to like it more.
I would watch
I
this
liked it.
again. I would
It's just-
watch this again.
I
Oh
wouldn't.
God, I know I wouldn't watch it
If I
again.
would
That's the
watch
thing.
it again.
I come away
If
thinking
I had a cinema
everything about
card,
this
if
I
I had a
hate.
cinema card, I'd
Well,
watch
take-
it
Yeah,
again.
I saw it
Take my
twice because I had
5-year-old
to
with
take
you.
my
You'll-
nieces
you'll love
with me. So I had to take my nieces to see this. So I've seen it twice, and both times I thought it's not a very good film at all.
Did your
Second
nieces
time,
like it?
well, I don't think they did. They just, I think one of my nieces said it was very stupid, and I'm like, I totally agree. And one of them said that ending was crap because nobody won. I'm like, yeah, you're right, nobody did. Well, not even the Flash won because he was in the wrong universe.
Well, and I
Right,
remember
okay.
going like, is him putting the tomato cans on the top shelf going to F up this this timeline, therefore undoing everything he tried
cleaning.
to do when he was trying to
Exactly what
save
the Lord
everything at
said,
the end?
yeah.
And sure enough, it did. I was
Yeah.
just like,
It's another thing I cannot properly put into words, which is annoying because it's my job. I cannot put into words just how much damage that one scene does.
Yeah.
It renders everything about the film completely
just proves
pointless.
he
The
learned nothing.
highest of highs and then the lowest of lows, all in like 3 minutes. It's
Yep.
amazing.
yeah.
I mean, how many
Okay.
times could Supergirl get stabbed? I mean, I think she got
3
stabbed 4
times.
times.
Infinite.
3 times.
Infinite.
Three
She
times.
can
fair,
take a
listen.
hit and keep going.
To be fair, considering how everything's happened in Hollywood recently, seeing her get killed by a bloke, okay.
Well, I mean, okay, there is
Well-
that to be said for the film. The other reason I think it doesn't really offend people as much as it otherwise might is that it's not a preachy film in the way we're so used to seeing being done. There aren't really too many girl boss moments in it, even though they've literally swapped Superman for a girl. That's played reasonably well. It doesn't shout at you about gender politics. It doesn't do any of this stuff. And I think that's one of the reasons people aren't more pissed off by it. But it doesn't. Not being pissed off by something does not mean axiomatically that you think it's good. And I think that's one of the many reasons that people are not going to go back and see it, which is that, okay, they didn't find it very offensive. It didn't make a huge amount of sense, but at least it didn't piss them off. But again,
What
not
about
being
the
pissed
Wonder
off.
Well,
Woman
in all
thing?
fairness, she did hit first, so she hit him
Wow.
first. So
What about
she
deserved it,
started the
folks?
fight.
Shall
What about
we-
the Wonder Woman scene where Batman and Flash
yeah,
was tripping
I
over
know.
her? I'm like,
That's
what the hell is
one-
this?
Yeah, that's the one exception to the preachy thing. That's when Bruce says, or Batman says, of course, if I just wanted to end crime, I'd have ended poverty because I'm rich enough to do that. And it's
There
like,
you go.
what the fuck are you talking about, film?
Uma Plumzert, does the movie meet the ESG requirements?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
he has a black love, and Supergirl is Latina.
And the main actor is non-binary.
Hot.
Right, there you go.
Yep.
And a
Transgender.
Oh yeah,
non-binary.
she's Latina and smoking.
Cheers.
Why? So every film has to have this now?
It's an ESG
Yes.
story, yeah.
What a load of bollocks. Sorry, but that's it.
Well, any movie you
can't
produce,
create
Mega,
art.
is covered because you're black.
Well, you can't create art if those are the criterias. You know, you have to be free when you create art. So, and making films is art. So, I don't understand the stupid rule.
I will say, if I may, anybody in the chat who's seen The Flash, do you want to give it a mark out of 10? Here you go, John Z. 4.
I think that's fair. Actually, no, it's not too. I give it.
Panel, Lord, marks out of 10.
Begrudgingly 3.
Blue Man,
I'll give it a 5. Just because
Generous.
the things that it takes care of are the ones that are most important to me.
yeah,
Even though, unfortunately, at the very end, the most powerful scene in the movie is ruined immediately afterwards, as Platoon pointed out a number of times. But I'll go with a 5. Why not?
Geek, Mega Geek.
Just a 2. It isn't a very good film. It's not a very good film, though. That's the thing. I mean, the first half is terrible. The middle of the second half is good because it's got Batman in it, and then the ending, as Little Platoon says, it destroys everything that he was fighting for, and it just doesn't make any sense. So
Here you go, Andy Mouse. Ain't seen it yet, but 9.
It's also worth
Titan
reiterating as well
4.
that the film can only exist because he is an idiot.
yes,
The whole thing proceeds. He goes back in time. He does what he's come to do.
Fall from Cider.
He sees his alternate self coming through the garden, and rather than go
Fall.
back forward in time, because at the point he's doing this, he still believes time is linear for some reason. Rather than doing that, which was always his plan, he stays around, he rugby tackles his own self, breaking more of time, and then when he has another opportunity to go back later, he says, no, I've got to unite the Justice League to take out Zod preemptively, even though he knows by this point the damage he's doing. The whole film is sustained by
Timey-wimey.
rank idiocy.
Catty, go on.
I give it a 7.
Ready?
Listen.
I'm with Mad Cat. I gave it a 7. I found it in, hey, you guys are welcome to think what you want, but I like what I like. And
Yeah.
I
For sure,
found
yeah.
this film quite enjoyable.
Yeah,
it was entertaining. It was fun. And, it had its emotional moments. And I was honestly impressed with Ezra's acting. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was as well,
I give it a 7.
I would also give it 7.
Will you give it 1
Nice.
as well? Will you give Supergirl 1?
He'd give
Sasha
anyone
Calle,
one
yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Brown's
Yeah,
desperate.
Supergirl was hot, man.
Yeah. Here you go, Scottish Celts, 5 for the unplugged microwave. Ping.
Yeah.
All that
Oh, yeah,
dingo
yeah,
bait
very
raining
good, yeah,
down
very
and
good.
no
What a
dingoes
load of
to eat
rubbish.
it.
Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Do
it.
Remember, it's a lot of Flash stuff. That took a lot longer than I thought.
Move along.
Like 45 minutes longer. But anyway, moving on.
Hey,
you haven't moved along.
You know, Brown always says we're moving on, and then it's like, oh, look, something else about the
Discuss
same
this aspect
subject.
of the movie.
Okay, so we're going to go a few. Let me speak.
flopped big
Flash earns 9.7 mil on the Thursday domestic previews, which I suppose for previews is okay.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's a big flop.
Could you tell straight away it was going to be a flop at that point?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because this also includes Monday night showings because I saw it on Monday.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so the Thursday numbers roll in Monday numbers as well. And then the entire weekend that they say is the 3-day weekend was 55 million when it's really 5 days. That is horrible. This is nothing short of like a pure disaster.
Yeah.
But Matt, I don't understand. They chose to make a Flash movie rather than a Batman, like another Ben Affleck Batman movie. It makes no sense to me.
Well, you
Because
can
Flash
thank,
is hardly known by the going public. You know, the
I wouldn't
normies.
agree with that. I think like everyone knows Flash, but no one gives a crap about.
Yeah,
Flash.
Right, okay.
I would
I
say
don't.
That's probably more accurate.
Yeah, I think that really huge Flash fans like
Oh,
the
the
way
TV
they
series, of course.
Yeah, well, the way they do the Flash in this movie is not how he is like in the comic books. Like this isn't my Flash. Like my Flash isn't like super like trying to be funny all the time and comedic and stuff. He's you know he's very
really
like,
intelligent.
Exactly, he's very scientific
very well
about his
out.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. So it's like they were going a different route, which I don't know if
like
it's
the
the best
TV show.
I think
no, in the comics.
Yeah, like in the comic books. Yeah, he's.
But the TV show portrayed him as quite an intelligent fella.
Yeah,
as
they
well.
do. I think they do a good
watch
job.
it.
Well, I stopped after season 7. I think it was.
I stopped
can't
after
remember.
season 3.
Yeah. But I just want to say, I think that if Ezra Miller hadn't have torpedoed his life, then I think this movie would have done better because you wouldn't have the whole he's a crazy person or a bloomer
folks.
with a GR.
I think I'm being picked up on this at Mr. Brown. That's me. Didn't somebody around here say it was going to be a massive hit? Yes.
You know, they
Deeply
say
did.
hindsight's 2020, but we've been saying this stuff all along about, hey, maybe don't do this and that, and the movie will succeed. And then it ends up bombing, and everyone's like, "Oh, how'd that happen?"
I
Like,
think
you know how it happened.
If I remember correctly, I think my original sentiment was that with all the crazy stuff that was going on with that knobhead, wouldn't it be ironic if the movie did $1 billion because it was that good?
Never had a chance.
Well, and if I may, like Ian, you were saying something about like they should have made a solo movie with Ben Affleck, but and I agree with you. And Flash would have been probably a really good supporting character instead of a main character. But the problem with that is Matt Reeves shot that straight to hell because of his Robert Pattinson Batman movie.
Matt Reeves
I
did
don't
that
agree
film.
with that.
Now, hold
Great
on, but
movie, that.
Matt Reeves did that film because Ben Affleck. There was trouble trying to get his Batman off the ground, and so suddenly Ben Affleck said, "Like fuck this, you know, I'm not doing this anymore because you're mucking around with what I wanted to direct in the first place." So he left the project, and it was open.
Yeah, because
for the
WB
next
kept
Batman.
effing with him, you know,
that's
and
what
he
I'm
had
saying.
some good ideas.
This is the reason why the what's his name, this Batman, the Batman exists, because if Ben Affleck was a huge success,
Tom Cruise loved it. Everybody.
Right, and I don't think it's any issue whatsoever to have multiple Batman. We just had 3 on screen in 1 year, and people totally understand it. Like audiences aren't stupid by any stretch of the imagination. We can separate things. But WB, well, yeah, I already know where you're going. With that.
Here we go.
No. I don't disagree that the audience can separate it, but I do think it takes away from the importance of each individual one.
Oh, I can agree with that too. That's why you need to make sure that you need to make sure that you have boundaries, right? Like we had no idea what to expect with we have no idea what to expect in this Flash movie because we knew that they were rebooting it, so we're unsure of what matters.
Right.
So I think that played a huge factor in people not showing up too, because it's just like, well, does this even what matters? I don't know. I don't
agree.
care.
I think people are getting tired of superhero films anyway.
Yeah, it is played out.
I don't think people are getting tired of superhero films. I think they're getting sick and tired of bad superhero films. I mean, Marvel Phase 4 was just a complete dumpster fire in terms of superhero films. And I think that they just keep putting... I mean, the Black Adam was just like not that great. So I think people are just tired. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I personally enjoyed it because I took it for what it was.
But do you not think that Marvel oversaturated the market with superheroes between Disney Plus series and their movies? It was just too much. I think people have fatigue on superheroes right now.
I think so.
I really do.
I do think so. I think that the people that like us who watch this stuff constantly, I think are, but I think people like, for instance, my wife, who is a complete normie, she never watched those Disney Plus movies and she missed half of Phase 4. So I'm pretty sure she doesn't care if it's a superhero film.
I don't know. I mean,
I think that would be evidence of superhero fatigue. So superhero fatigue isn't people downvoting every single superhero film that comes out. It's them having less tolerance for bad superhero films. So the fact that The Flash is underperforming Ant-Man is an interesting one, because we can talk all we like about Ezra Miller's personal travails impacting the performance of this film. The fact is, it is not the only superhero film to have come out in the last 2 years which has completely tanked for completely separate reasons. Whereas in MCU phases 1 to 3, you had some pretty bad films, but everyone still went to see them because people were still very, very keen on the genre. As people become less keen on the genre, they become less forgiving of bad entries in that genre.
And also, my sister said that she wanted, I said, she watches every superhero, and I said, you want to go and see The Flash? She goes, no, it's a superhero film. Nah, I don't want to see it. Do you know what I mean? And she's not the only one. A lot of people I know are kind of bailing on the superhero films now.
Right on. Okay, you guys need to stop making sense right now.
And the core characters...
Listen, Linda.
Listen. Movie, go on. Sorry, mate.
Like Flash is not like you were saying, Mega. Like he's or what we agreed on. Like he's a well-known superhero, but most people don't really care about him. We're far more likely to give these kind of characters a shot if the core characters are having great movies. We haven't seen like the Batman. While it was mostly well received, everyone knows it's separated from this universe. So where's the Batman movie in this universe that was good that makes us be like, you know what? I'll check out the Flash too since it's connected. That doesn't exist right now.
That's why Marvel worked so well when it first started.
Right?
Yes.
What does IDC mean?
I don't care.
Okay, yeah. I'm Hollywood. I'm Hollywood movie fatigue. Period. Also, the coof killed people's habit of going.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, it made them more refined in what they're going to go spend their money on. Because if two different movies cracked $2 billion in the past 16 months, I'm not going to sit here and say that there's fatigue. I'm saying that people are like, you know what? I'm only going to go into the theater if you give me a really good movie. So it's actually just exposing poor quality.
It is. I mean,
doesn't explain Avatar, though, does it?
Well,
if
I wonder if it does actually, because Avatar is one of the only big budget things that comes out that is not a superhero film.
Oh, yeah,
so I wonder whether people are interested in that in part because it's different, and that's a point in its favor.
Trigger.
Peter Pidrak for $2. Glad to be finally here live. Thank you, Peter.
$1.99.
Yes.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Fiona made a good point earlier than that, which is that Captain Marvel cracked $1 billion, right? I think I'm right in saying that
because of
the 1.1.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel was a more offensive film, I think, than The Flash was. And yet it still hit $1 billion because, and I think the fact that a film which is technically speaking more offensive to people, the fact that it still does $1 billion is, and that this film does not, is proof that there is a general fatigue, is that people are not going to put up with that. And compare Captain Marvel to the likely performance of The Marvels when that comes out, and you've got pretty good evidence of a kind of superhero fatigue.
Yeah, I think so. I think I agree.
Let's proceed. Okay, so
wrong.
That was the Thursday. So the Flash earns, is it 25?
24.5.
Yeah, in the opening day.
Yeah, so that includes the 9.5. So it actually made 15 million on its actual Friday, which is, to put this in perspective, Green Lantern 10 years ago opened to 53 million in total, and in 1995, so imagine all the inflation since then, Batman Forever opened to 52.
Wow.
That's how bad this movie did.
It's really funny because when I look at that
Stream
costume,
killer,
he's
but-
got like false abs, but Chris Reeves had to actually have abs when he got into his costume.
Yep. It was all him, not,
no
not costume.
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
There
let's
you go.
proceed. So it's not doing well, is it?
Not doing well. Oh, we haven't moved on. So it's a flop, says Nerderotic.
Yeah, I posted this because what Gary
says it's a flop.
60 million 3-day.
Well, never mind.
Well, it's actually 55 now is the projection. This is This was being generous a day ago.
Oh, dear. It's not good, is it?
I mean, this could be pretty bad as well. I mean, a lot depends on what the drop-off rate is for the second weekend.
It's going to be horrendous. I guarantee it's 70 plus.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so you're talking the film's been out for effectively 2 weeks, and it has, well, if it's 70% drop-off, it's only it's not even quite made $100 million in 2 weeks. Which
The
is,
thing that sucks about this is going to be James Gunn's like smoking gun, so to speak, so to say. Like, see what I'm about to do to turn this place around? It's going to be so good because obviously whoever worked on this stuff before me sucks, and I'm not trusting where he's going with it either. To be honest,
because also the final battle of this film is a James Gunn final battle. So you have the incredibly serious moment when Supergirl learns that in this alt universe, baby Superman has been killed as a baby, and she's incredibly cut up. She performs that really well. That scream of rage and desperation is brilliant. And then we cut away to a pop rock song playing while the Flashes quip at each other in the middle of an empty.
Hey, at least it was
CGI
Jack White.
landscape.
He's my favorite musician.
So hold on. So,
oh my god!
Wait, so I just want to say one thing. This just goes to show how screwed up the script was. When Zod lands, he says he's looking for Superman, right? Then halfway through the film, when he meets Supergirl, he says that I killed the baby. So why did he come and say he's looking for Superman?
Did he say that?
Yeah, I don't think. I think
he says it.
He
said
said
for
Kryptonian.
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah, I thought he said just for Kryptonian.
That's
There you
what
go,
I
folks.
thought too.
Black lives or black votes. Gunverse is DOA.
Yeah,
I
I can just see
Let
I
it
can see the
die.
Gunverse doing the worst of James Gunn and the worst of what came before him, and that's kind of certainly the final act of this film is the worst of James Gunn plus the worst of Zack Snyder even. And I weirdly enough, I never thought I'd come away from saying this, but I've had to say it a few times in my review script. This film gave me nice things to say about what Zack Snyder did, and I never thought I'd be in that position, and I don't like it for that reason. But
here you go, folks. Side effect: Gunn is making.
Yes.
Did anybody see the trailer? For
I
this?
saw the trailer before
Blue
the movie
Beetle
today.
is first. It's like, ugh.
wasn't that already in production
looks
before he
so
signed on though?
stupid.
Yeah. It's I think he's doing it just so that one doesn't bomb also, because if you remember Black Adam, he did not come out at all to promote Black Adam.
He was hired after Black Adam. Black Adam was the final nail in the coffin that they were like, fuck this, we need someone else. So they got him. And like he already shot himself in the foot with this movie because he said it was one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Exactly. And Gunn's given us Superboy, isn't he? Is it
Yeah.
Superboy?
Here you go, folks. Adam
knows.
Gray, Blue Beetle's a.
Yeah, tell me about it. Seriously.
We're getting bogged down apparently. We need
to bog up.
We need to proceed.
Bad. So bad.
Okay.
Time to bog up.
Still
hey,
bogged
the
down.
Flash.
No way, more Flash stuff?
I can't read that. What does it say, Blue Man?
What is it? Let me zoom in.
The Flash is
The Flash is tracking to earn 155 to 165 in the film's worldwide opening weekend. So not good. This is Little Mermaid territory, and I would say this movie is more disliked than that movie. So look for this to be a $300 million loss.
I thought Little Mermaid was a hit.
No, it's going to lose money.
No,
if you
it's
did it. Oh, you were not. I was like, are you being serious, bro?
Get in the bin.
So here you go. Look, they're all doing it. Here you go. In the bin.
It does call into question why they decided to stick with it, because they
it costs
canceled
so much money.
200 million.
Well, I know it, but then what was the one they cancelled? The other one with the
Batgirl.
It was Batgirl. I
Batgirl.
posted in my review
did
that
look
if that
shit.
had cost in the range of Batgirl, this would have been canceled.
That did look shit.
but they needed to clearly, like, financials must have said, like, no matter what, you need to put this in the theater because we need to recoup like something. Because this was probably in the range of like 300 what was the budget, like 250 and then 100 million in marketing, so you'd need to make about 700 even more, so 700 to 750 million to break even, and it's probably going to coast to about 400 million.
And I wonder whether it will actually make back the money they hoped it would make back. We're in negative profit territory either way, but would they have in fact saved money by not putting this out and not spending anything on marketing and just cancelling it?
It may do well on pay-per-view type stuff.
Yeah.
So in like 10 years, it'll turn a profit.
Profit's a profit.
I guess so.
Okay. Amazon.
The 8K re-release.
Absolutely.
16K
12K.
Mr. Brown will buy every copy.
Like you did of Batman. Anyway, let's move on.
That movie made profit without me.
Do you know, I completely forgot how many slides I did. Sorry.
We've covered this one already. I bought this.
I was going to say, this is a repeat.
Yeah, just people are moaning about the VFX, but as I said, as an old raver, they were fine.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it not bad, though, does it?
Yeah, they were so bad.
I like the idea that Brown in his past life is basically saying, yeah, I once did so much LSD, I put a baby in a microwave and it looked
we used to call them California cheeseburgers.
I didn't do that, but yeah, it's fine. I don't know why people are moaning about it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, my God. I've give VFX passes all the time because there is a bar of quality. It's like the one thing, along with cinematography, that most movies just have nailed down at this point. So it's mostly complimentary whenever I bring this stuff up, unless it's CGI overload. This was not just CGI overload. This was distractingly awful. It really looked like The Rock in The Mummy Returns.
It did, yeah.
It was that bad.
Do a tab, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Trust me, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Trust me.
Yeah, your problem is you don't go to the movies high. No, just kidding.
Unfortunately.
Would you want to?
Okay, let's proceed. I did warn everybody before we.
That's the topic of the moment.
This means we're not moving on, are we? We're not moving on.
I mean, we're going to talk about this on B-Sup tomorrow.
Oh, we are, yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, no.
I may join you tomorrow if I'm invited.
Yeah. Always.
B-Sup's getting too crowded.
You need some brown
so many
on the
people
panel.
on there. I was like,
yeah, you need to stick to 6, mate. It's just a perfect number, mate.
Yeah, but you're too OCD on that front.
Because at the very least, you can just do that, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is Vex going to be on tomorrow?
I like always tell everybody, like, yeah, just come on, and then like, I get messages from like 9 people. I'm like, oh shit.
Too many, mate. It's too distracting.
Last week was it last week or was the week before? It was quite a lot of people on there.
Yeah,
I think it was last week. There were 8. I want to say
last week was good. I liked last week.
Okay, let's move on.
Are we really going to move on?
I hope so. So we've done the VF.
Oh, God, we're not moving on.
The Flash. This is what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, apparently this has been in development hell for forever, hasn't it? And
yeah.
So many different. I think Nerdrotic dropped his video earlier, and he mentioned this a lot. That Lord and Miller were involved.
Yeah.
Robert Zemeckis was involved.
Do you know why this happened? It's because the people that are in charge, they have no clue about the comics or the actual IP. Yeah, and that's the reason why it went from all these people.
Because
they don't even know what it is.
Someone asked the director if like Wally West would be in the sequel, and he was like, "Who's that?"
That's what I'm saying. So,
and it's like, how do you not know? Yeah,
it's like hiring a plumber, to be an electrician. It really makes no sense. Hollywood, the way they operate, really doesn't.
Warner Brothers are genuinely the most stupidest, annoying company.
I don't think we can pin this on Warner because Lucasfilm does the same thing and Disney does the same thing. KK is famous for having like a longer kill list of directors than her entire life sex history. So I don't think it is just Warner. This is a common Hollywood thing. And having said earlier that I thought this film gave me 1 or 2 things to say about Zack Snyder that were surprisingly nice, I would have preferred it if Zack Snyder had done his entire universe. I think they should have given him the entire run.
At least it would have been coherent.
Disagree with you there.
I do think part of his
worst-
problem is the studio was overly involved and they micromanaged him a
Well,
bit much.
I
That's
don't
just
know.
me, but
Maybe
Well,
yeah.
it
but
didn't
the
help him
worst thing-
losing his daughter, did it?
yeah,
To be fair?
but they were
the
like,
worst case scenario
couldn't
is
be
if Zack
patient.
Snyder has his entire story, then all the people who are currently defending Zack Snyder for studio interference will no longer be able to have that argument for how shit the Snyderverse was. So that's something that's encouraging. But genuinely, though, on a less sarcastic level, I would much rather see one creator's vision fulfilled than to have this
Yes.
complete mess. Because at least you have more sort of coherency to the story. Even if the story is reliably shit because Zack Snyder can't write, at least the basic idea of the stories will be consistent.
it would have been consistent. Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, when his daughter died, they just wanted to really rush Justice League out because they wanted to compete with Avengers. And instead of just waiting for him to grieve and do what he needed to do, they hired Joss Whedon, who tried to make it into a fake Avenger movie. And this is why we have inconsistencies within the DCU. I feel like if he had been allowed to do what he needed to do, maybe we would enjoy all these movies a lot better. I don't know, but to at least have one universe feel instead of like, oh, well, this movie's kind of like this and this movie's kind of like this,
It's a crapshoot. When they're trying to hire people, they have no idea what's needed to make these kind of movies. They always hire the wrong director, then politics comes into it, and they don't even read the comics. They don't even they should have just sat and watched the TV show of the Flash, and they would have get some kind of concept of what Flash is all about. None of them does this because they're too busy coking it up and doing what they do in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
I will say, in respect to Zack Snyder, he did read 300, and he also read Watchmen, and he directed both of those movies.
He has never read a Superman comic in his life.
Oh no, but I'm just saying, as far as those two movies,
why
yes, he
was
did
he
read the
given
comics for
Batman
those.
and Superman if he
That I
didn't know
don't know.
anything about Superman?
I will
It's
never let
ridiculous.
it go. I won't say the actual word, but it rhymes with grape. And he said, this is the edgelord that is Zack Snyder. He said, yeah, well, Batman could be great in one of my movies.
I know, it's like
Yeah, that's not
it's
He really
ridiculous,
said
isn't
that.
it? Yeah, it's stupid. He had no idea how to do a Superman movie, and he had no idea. In fact, I think somebody told me he didn't even watch the Chris Reeve version.
No, that just shows how much of just surface level crap he was, because he just took really pretty visuals from the comic books, and that was something that everyone held up as like, look, it's comic accurate. Why? Because he made a CGI picture of it for 3 seconds on the screen.
Well, I feel like one of the reasons I was disappointed with Man of Steel is knowing that Christopher Nolan was involved, and he didn't do anything to respect the lore, in my opinion.
Disappointing.
He did a great thing with the Batman movies that he did. I liked all 3 of his Batman movies. I know A Dark Knight Returns is not the best out of the 3, but they're still great Batman movies to me. And I was like, oh, okay, so he'll help keep Superman in line. And he didn't do that.
Chris Nolan was given money to be that. He was given money to supervise it, but he didn't supervise.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do
He
anything.
just put his
He
name
didn't
in the
actually
credits.
supervise it.
Yeah.
It gives
him
the
money.
film. It gives the film credit if you have his name attached to it.
Exactly.
That's why it was
He
on it.
didn't do anything. They gave him money so he can put his name to it, and he didn't
But he
do
was
his
on
job.
set.
He didn't,
What was he
Yeah, he was on
doing?
set, probably on set just to meet a couple of people and stuff, and then he's off. Do you know what I mean? He didn't give a shit about the DC universe. He doesn't care about, otherwise he'd be making more. He's making, Oppenheimer, whatever that thing's called. So
That's going to bomb, that is.
For sure.
Shall
My
we
husband
move
wants to
on?
see that.
We'll move on. There's still a few more Flash.
Are we going to
things,
move on?
so
Really?
I'm going to
Are
be
we really moving on? Or
I'm going to be
bumping down?
selective. I'm going to get rid of a few. So bear with me, folks, while I
I can
press
hear the
some buttons.
kitties. That's got to be Matt's kitties.
They are mine. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, that's all right. That's okay.
It's
This is-
Linda's babies.
Linda,
Yeah.
this is regards the different endings. So
Yeah.
3 different endings. Keaton, Batman, and Callie's Supergirl at the courthouse. Callie's Supergirl, Cavill's Superman, Godot's Wonder Woman, and Keaton's Batman at the courthouse. The one
That would have been
currently
cool.
in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, why did they have
Number
to
2
kill
would have been
Keaton?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just wanted to. They didn't want to have Cavill's Superman in there.
It was all about shitting on Cavill. James Gunn wanted to shit on Cavill.
Yeah, I thought that was so weird. I was like, this movie hates him so much.
Which I just go, why wouldn't you just do it? Because I mean, we all know it's not going forward. So why wouldn't you just do it anyways? You know, give us fans what we want, and then you're done.
And you know, in all fairness, Cavill loved playing Superman, and he loved his fans that adored him as Superman. Why would you not respect him and his fans?
Yeah, like even someone like me who hates that cinematic universe, I liked him as Superman. I just didn't like the movie he was in.
Yeah, and also doesn't Michael Keaton look awesome there?
He does.
Yes,
100%.
He looks awesome.
So such a good costume that is.
And he was a badass Batman in this movie. Even though he's an older Bruce Wayne, he was still badass, man.
I like my disbelief for that because it was really cool.
I did like the line where he's like, "This is gonna hurt," and I was like, "Oh, I so feel you."
Exactly.
I say that every time I get out of bed.
Welcome to my world. Okay, shall we? We'll move on again. I'm gonna jump a few here. This one's for Blue Man and me. And
oh
Mega
boy!
Geek.
Oh, sounds hot.
Yeah, boy, I said that to you. You saying that she doesn't look good or feminine?
No,
Get out of here,
boy! Like straight
No. In my defense, I said she'd look better with longer hair. I didn't say that she didn't look hot.
Oh no, I was talking to Rennie specifically.
Oh, right, Rennie.
No hips. Her face is like very masculine or very androgynous. She is not a feminine Supergirl. I'm sorry.
She's got hot though.
And who knows if like the boobs are even her real boobs? You know, maybe they just gave her something so you could, you know, think in your head, oh yeah, it's Supergirl, not Superboy.
Please stop giving them six packs because it just looks stupid.
Sorry, look, here you go. Right, okay, I'm gonna go in order. Chat's moving up. Sorry. Okay, Andy Mouse 1. Andy Mouse 1. Andy Mouse 1.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. Never mind.
Andy Mouse, that turns out to be a total of 4, sir.
Anyone who's complaining about how she looks has some very self-conscious issues.
That's the hair. I want her to have longer hair.
The original Supergirl was very pretty and feminine, in my opinion. She is not.
Yeah, you're right.
And Wonder Woman's pretty. Like, she looks feminine, right? This chick does not to me.
I'll definitely
give you a more female body.
Feminine, I'll give you that.
This woman has a far more female body than the twig that is Wonder Woman, who I also do find very beautiful. But like the Supergirl has like the skin tight suit and everything looks far more feminine than what Wonder Woman has. She does.
I feel like she looks more like a twig than Gal Gadot.
What?
Yeah, she looks more like a twig than Gal Gadot does. Yes. At least Gal Gadot has curves.
They should have Linda Carter's body. Linda Carter, mate, tell you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Linda Carter was perfect.
She was very statuesque.
Are we ever going to see her again?
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
Probably
no,
not. She did.
Probably
she
not.
did.
Yeah, she did. She got stuck 3 times.
Yeah, because my previous slide basically said that
she was coming back.
I like how you cut the slide out to save time, and now we've gone back.
Yeah, well,
to the previous slide that you cut out.
Just basically, everybody's saying that she stole every scene and she was really good.
No, she didn't.
No, she really didn't steal every scene.
Not every
I think she was surprisingly good, but it doesn't quite equate to brilliance.
Yeah, she was a decent
I don't think,
actress.
she was decent. She performed the role well enough, but I don't think the character was given anything like enough time and space to really make much of an impact.
Maybe the original story did give her a lot of time.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
You know, we won't know now. So,
we'll definitely move on.
She could have killed him, couldn't she? Took him up into the clouds and get electrocuted and try and get his powers back. I'm like,
something different, folks. Now, James Gunn is currently doing screen tests for Superman Legacy with.
Why is it called Superman? He's casting a kid as Superman. Shouldn't it be Superboy?
Isn't Nicholas Hoult like in his mid-30s?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, but he's still got that baby face.
Nicholas Hoult, David Coruscant, is it?
Cornswent.
Don't know.
And Tom Brittney for Superman.
I'm
What
not
about
excited.
what
Yeah.
about Matt and Ben? Aren't they up for Superman? Matt,
I don't
Ben?
think so.
No.
No.
I did get an email that I missed, so
Oh, damn
just
it.
double check.
Matt will be up for the Blue Beetle.
I think so.
Is it Emma Mackey, Phoebe,
Oh, the girls playing Lois Lane.
Danival, Rachel
One of them is redhead as well.
Brosnahan.
for Lois Lane?
One of them is redhead. I think Rachel's redheaded, didn't she?
I don't know. I think I kind of like the Emma Mackey chick. I think she's really hot. I think they're trying to make Lois a little bit older than Clark, and I don't know how I feel about that. But the only one that I don't know about the guys is Tom Brittany, but I would prefer him over the other two just because what happened to like picking unknowns and like making them, stars and everything? Like when did we get rid of that? And Nicholas Hoult, I'm sorry, but the world has spoken.
Yeah.
We don't want him in anything. So I think he just needs to either go away.
I think he thinks he's better looking than he is.
Yeah,
to be
and
honest.
don't get me wrong, the David Cornsweet guy, he looks like Superman because he's got that Superman curl naturally. But as far as acting goes, he's not exactly the best actor on the planet.
Give him his pants back.
Yeah.
I hope they give Superman his pants back.
I hope not. I think that looks
like
so
his underwear. His underwear.
I really like it.
I think it's so archaic. Like I understand that it was.
Missing.
It's something that is.
I'm fine with
its
either way.
time, and I think that time is over. Like I
don't know.
really do.
I don't know. I think it still has its place, but we have to agree to disagree there, I guess.
I mean, I understand
Yeah,
why
but
they
it comes
did
from
away with them,
Krypton.
but it's not the classic look. So
I
I
think
can understand both points.
The problem that happened is like visually when you're looking at Superman as a drawing, like it works. It balances out the costume because it's blue, then red trunks, and then blue again. And what happened was like in the Zack Snyder films, they took the trunks away, but they didn't give him a yellow belt or anything to balance it out. Yeah. So it looked relatively flat. And I think if they actually just give him a belt, that'll take care of that.
But I think even today, when you see those pictures of Chris Reeve standing on the rooftop with the full Superman costume, he just looks awesome compared to Henry and everybody else that's played.
He would look awesome if they removed underwear.
I just think it works. But that's just
on
me,
his
though.
Superman, no, it wouldn't work. It would look wrong, I think, because we're too used to seeing him with it. So it would be like Superman is semi-naked. You know what I mean? Even though he's really not. It just wouldn't look right.
Here you go, folks. Hindsight profits. Christopher Reeves was the best Superman. Met him in '91 at a ski resort in Mass. Very cool guy.
Yeah, it's strange how it's obvious he was born to play Superman, Chris Reeve, right? It's obvious.
Yeah.
Same thing with Henry as well.
Incredible.
Yeah. Agreed. Except for I don't like that Cavill liked keeping Superman hairy. Superman should not be hairy. He should be perfect. I'm just saying. Sorry.
What about
Fugly
Superman? What do you
He
reckon,
can just go right in the bin for all I care.
No, he's great.
No, he's too fugly. He can't be Superman.
No, he just needs a shave. That's what lets him down.
I had to sit for a
that
film with
face.
my sister. Do you want to see this film? I think it was on Netflix, and he was in it. It was a romance film.
Oh, was it the Art of Keeping a Secret or something?
That's the one. That's the one. That
it's not a very good movie.
Not a very good movie at all. It's terrible. I was thinking, that's
here you go.
ugly Superman.
Johnny Lawrence's mum. Yes, Rennie. Thank you.
Woo! High five, girl.
Shall we move on?
Move along.
Moving on.
Oh,
This was the main news this week, wasn't it, Catty?
Yeah.
What's this?
Superman and Lois is getting a 4th season, folks. Be it 10 episodes.
Yeah, and they're
But they
reducing
are-
the cast.
They do know what?
They're reducing. Sorry, I was taking a sip of water. They're reducing the cast of the main characters.
Oh.
They're getting rid of the 7 non Kent family characters, but they're not saying that they're not coming back altogether. They're just saying that they're not going to be main characters, like recurring characters. So they'll just come back for like maybe 1 or 2 episodes for the season, which is a bummer. But we'll see what they can do with it. I'm happy it is bittersweet because I'm happy that they got a 4th season. That was what I wanted. But they did up the guy that's going to be playing Lex Luthor in the next episode to a series regular.
Who plays Lex Luthor?
He's from The Walking
slide.
Dead. Okay, but it is going to be a bummer not to see these characters on the regular on the screen. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I always say this every week, don't I, Matt? This is the best thing to come out of DC in 10 years.
For sure, I agree. And
give it some money, for fuck's sake.
Absolutely. Well, they got Nexstar, and I'm pretty sure Nexstar doesn't want to pump any more money into it because they don't have any money as it is.
HBO, just buy it.
I agree. Like it really baffles me how they'll put crappy shows out like Titans, and then you get a really good one like this, and it's like, well, give them Titans budget because that one had a bunch of special effects in it. And
change the guy that plays Superman. That would be better.
Do not change the guy that
You've
plays
never
Superman.
Fugly.
He is not fugly, and you don't even watch the show.
Yeah,
so what do
sure
you
it is.
care?
I watched season 1. That was enough for me.
Season 1 was great.
Season 1 and 2 I watched.
Yeah, but it will be a bummer not to see these characters on screen, constantly.
Fugly.
It was on. It was
He's
having a
gorgeous.
rest.
He's gorgeous. You stop it.
It was having a
There's
rest.
something wrong with you, man.
You're just so jealous. You're jealous.
No,
just got that-
you can have him, honey. You can.
I'll
have
take every inch of him.
The last 2 episodes. Next episode Wednesday, Catty. It's going to get good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You haven't
tomorrow.
gotten sorry, Ian. You haven't gotten this news thing, the UFO that landed in Vegas, have you? Everybody heard about that?
I saw
No,
it.
he was too
Millennium
busy
Falcon,
doing
wasn't it?
stills for the Flash.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right.
Okay. So, Catty said it perfectly. Bittersweet. Why they just can't give it some
Because
money?
they
'Cause
don't know
it's
what they're doing. That's why.
best
Yeah.
program on TV.
It really is. It really is good. I love this
If
show.
it is, the people that actually commissioned it don't know it.
They don't.
So this goes to show how great they are at their job.
Everybody else knows it apart from the people who, the studio.
Too busy snorting. They're too busy snorting.
The Bolivian.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Drew Gordon says it wasn't a UFO; it's a giant Pokemon. So you're good.
Nice.
Okay. So, final season, it's going to be this guy, isn't it, Catty, who's going to play Lex?
Yes. Which
Really?
Yeah, yeah, he would have
That's
been
Lex
my
Luthor?
choice. Yeah.
He's about
yeah.
as fugly as Superman.
Oh my god! Well, they
Oh,
had to
yeah,
have like a
that's so-
fugly match.
That's so mean.
But I'll tell you this much: I think anybody would do a better job than Jesse Eisenhower
Oh,
as
God,
Lex
yes.
Luthor. So
Tell me about
there's
it.
that.
Yeah, tell me about it. Well,
Yeah, I would not have chosen, but we'll have to see if he does a good job acting wise. I did like the guy that they chose for Titans as Lex Luthor. I thought he did a good job. I'm trying to remember his name.
Smallville.
Wasn't,
the guy in
wasn't
Smallville
this
was
guy
brilliant.
Abraham in The Walking Dead?
He was, yeah.
He was.
Oh, I thought so.
Yeah.
There's 5 seasons of Superman and Lois all day long, and they're just being stupid.
But the guy that was in Smallville, he was a brilliant Lex Luthor.
Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
He was great. I loved him so much. But
really good.
yeah, no,
Very
the guy that
in
Go ahead.
capturing or whatever. I can't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
can't
was
even
great.
word right now.
Yeah, he was great for sure.
Hello, Miss Martin Muse.
Hey, Teresa.
Okay, shall we?
Aw.
Oh, here we go. Super sticker from Miss
99.
Martin. Mrs. Martin Muses for $1. Super sticker. Thank you.
Showing
move
some
on?
love.
Moving on.
Do it.
Moving on. Okay. So we're not going to see the cutting the budget for a great program. The hammer blow came down this week, folks.
Is this coming back?
Oh,
Yep.
lordy.
It is, yes.
Yay.
But why? See, this is the question, right? Why?
I'm pretty sure it's one of those things where they had already signed on for 2 seasons, so it's
The
like
original
legally,
plan was 2 seasons.
Yeah, so legally, I'm sure they have to.
Well, I'm not going to watch it, so.
Stream
I
collab.
am.
Well, no, there were
I
plans.
know you are.
The plans were announced for this. I think in the first week season 1 aired. So it's all the people who say, well, it's only getting a second season because of all the people hate watching it. No, that's not how these things work to begin with, and B, you are vastly overestimating the number of hate watchers there are out there. Certainly hate watchers who actually pay to watch the damn thing, which I certainly did not. But no, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I want to see how low they can plumb the depths of depravity with a season 2 of Velma. It's artistic in its own right, really, because just when you think it's reached the worst possible point, they find some brand new way of being even worse. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Isn't it Mindy Kaling that does the voice of Velma?
Yes.
Yeah. No thanks.
And writes the show as well.
Eager folks, abject mediocrity. Velma is a malignant tumor that has no amount of treatment. No amount of treatment will cure.
You're absolutely right there, mate.
Yeah, I don't think the hate watch thing really applies to pretty much anything because it's a little anecdotal, but from what I've kind of gathered, more people will actually watch content on YouTube crapping on these things than actually go and watch the thing.
I know.
Like the best example I think is probably the one that's off the top of my head. So like I think one of Critical Drinker's reviews of She-Hulk got it's probably at 5 million views now. I don't think a single episode of that show reached those heights.
There were some episodes that didn't even reach 1 million.
Yeah.
So almost any person who reviewed She-Hulk got more views on that video than the actual episode did.
Yep. Like one of my videos on it's about to crack 1 million views, and I'm like, oh, so more people watched my video than on She-Hulk.
For you.
Get in the bin.
I will crawl back outside the bin. Did you ever see The Ring? I'll come out of it like the TV.
Oh my gosh.
when we were reviewing Obi-Wank, nobody actually watched it. They just watched us ragging on it.
Yeah, good. That was probably more entertaining.
And legends were born from...
Well, they were, but no, it's a genuinely... I like it. I think it's a good thing when people say, well, what have you done that's of a better quality? Like, where's your $1 million production? Like, what have you done that's better than this thing? Well, my last video on it was better than the thing, so I've already done that.
I also hate that point.
Sorry, after you.
Sorry, you were already talking. My bad.
Oh no, I was going to say, going back through your history of 1 million+ view videos is a really good way of judging the absolute worst content of a given year. So my million ones are Velma, She-Hulk, Rings of Power, The Mandalorian is shortly to hit 1 million. And looking back, I would think that's probably about accurate. Yeah, those are some of the worst things that have been on TV this year. And it's a sign, people are willing to be entertained by this kind of thing. But you are basically creating something which is better than the thing you're reviewing. And so as long as you take that amount of pride in your work, then I have no problem being called a hate watcher.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, because I've called, since I started my channel, I've realized that certain content creation is really like an art form. I consider my videos an art form. I actually have to make something entertaining. And I've said a number of times, if I'm reviewing something I don't like, my goal is to make a video that's more entertaining than the thing I'm criticizing. And I also don't like the argument of where's your $1 million, $200 million production? Because I'm like, if that's what qualifies me to give an opinion, why is your positive opinion a qualifier?
Right.
Where's your $200 million movie? So that I know that you know what makes a good movie.
Well, yeah, why don't you go to Hollywood and make your own movie if you think it's so bad?
Yeah.
It's like,
If you know what makes a good movie, then why are you not making good movies?
Who said that?
No, I'm just saying, that would be my rebuttal to comments that Platoon and I have both gotten about, hey, if you think this movie's so terrible, why don't you make a movie that's great?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you think it's so great, what actually where's your production that lets me know you know what a good movie is?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's also a good way to propagate the genuinely good things that most of these new productions are absolutely destroying. So, would I have found the opportunity to really extol the virtues of Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, for example, if The Little Mermaid hadn't come out? But then again, would you gain anything about that knowledge from watching the film? No, you wouldn't. So the point of the review is largely to say, look, this is the great thing that is being completely destroyed here. This is what makes it so good versus the thing that's currently on our screen. And I'll say the same thing with Velma. Scooby-Doo is not complex storytelling, but compared to Velma, it's high art. So if you think Velma is shit, go and watch the original Scooby-Doo cartoons or anything Hanna-Barbera did, because it's brilliant stuff. It's the absolute pinnacle of children's entertainment, which has now been completely lost to us. So Velma is useful because it allows you to point to good things in the past and explain why they're good, as opposed to why Velma is simply bad.
Dog shit.
I'm not even going to give this the time of day.
I know you're joking, Andy Mouse.
It's just hateful. It's hateful.
Of course it is.
Andy Mouse
yeah,
said best Lex Luthor or Jesse Eisenberg, which I must apologize. I think I said Eisenhower instead of Eisenberg.
Oh yeah.
Look, it's a long last name.
Say
And
my
it's
name.
Moving on.
Say my name.
Just before you do that, that is the other thing, which is that Velma is hateful, and you're absolutely right about that. But that makes it a very, very, very useful lodestone to understand where certain people's mentality is, ideology is, the kind of people who make this show, and why they're able to make this show. That suggests that somebody way above them also kind of agrees with what they're saying, because otherwise it wouldn't have been made. So it's a good little guide for where the current state of culture is.
You know, the moment where I realized Velma was very, very hateful.
30 seconds in.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
It was the moment where somebody trod on the cockroach or something.
Oh yeah, that is 30 seconds
That's
in.
the opening scene, is it not?
I just thought, yeah, this is hateful. This is from the wrong place. Avoid it like the plague. This is hate.
Yeah.
Hate.
Yeah. Utter dog shit. Moving on.
What's this?
Speaking of dog shit.
Transformers Rise of
Who
the
made that
Beast
noise? That's great.
is estimated to earn $19 in its second.
One ticket sold. 40x ticket to one man.
Yeah, it was Cat who bought it. 68% drop, folks. So it's not
Oh,
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
No,
No.
I have been trolling. This is like the one video where I've gone into the comments just to troll, because it's very clear to me that it's a very vocal minority of people that are just like obsessed with Transformers and refuse to actually accept that a movie might be mediocre. And so now my responses today are, the movie was such a huge hit and audiences love it so much that it absolutely collapsed in its second weekend. I mean, the numbers speak for itself right there. It's a 68% drop. Like,
so nothing personal, but I actually enjoyed the movie and I appreciated it for what it was. There were things that I didn't like about it, but it was a fun popcorn flick for me. But I know, like, those of you guys that didn't grow up with the old cartoon and some of the comics or whatnot may not have found it enjoyable, but they were actually pretty good with sticking to the lore, especially when it came to the Maximals. So, I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to criticize you for hating it, but you can't tell me I can't like it, because it's not fair.
I don't mean to tell anyone they can't like anything. I don't care about that. Like whatever you want. It's more of just
or dislike anything you like.
Yeah, it's more of just saying that I am 100% wrong for pointing out objective things.
Yeah,
and you can say, hey, like, yes, those exist, but that doesn't bother me because they did X and Y.
No, it's the basic distinction between enjoyment and quality. I enjoy loads of shit films.
Don't do it.
But I understand that they're shit.
I like the Friday the 13th
is pretty bad.
I do think it would have been better if Bay directed it. I hate to say that, but I think it would have been better if
and my take on that was that this is just a Michael Bay clone in directing style anyway. What they did was kind of shore up the script and tighten up the editing so it's not 3 hours long. But I thought they did a disservice to the Maximals because they are barely in the movie. You could have taken them out and it wouldn't even have mattered. So that means they were put in here just to put it on the title and to get people like me to come into the theater and be like, oh, maybe this will be good. And walking out and thinking, oh, this is the exact same movie for the 7th time. I even in my review, I even break down the plots of the other movies to compare and show you this is the same movie. Again,
it's always a different MacGuffin.
Yeah,
it's a MacGuffin, but it's a different MacGuffin.
Somebody said that you could actually see the fights in this one. You can actually see what's going on when they're fighting.
Yeah, the designs are better. Like you can actually the Transformers designs themselves do look better. They're not a giant mess, so you can actually distinguish Transformers one from the other. Thankfully,
and they look more faithful to the cartoon.
Yeah.
Move along.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly along.
Just before you do, because I haven't had the opportunity to test this yet, but since we're talking about robots, this might not even work, but I'm hoping it does, because I really like the bit where
here we go. Could you read the super chat then, if you're going to do this?
Oh my God. Say I'm coming.
Lord, could you
That's funny.
Lord Yolon, could you do the super chat, please?
I can, yes. From Romeo Tango N-Word Zeta for 11 New Zealand dollars on morning tea break at work. Highly recommend Cynic's Flash review as very fair and balanced, even more so than Drinkers. I enjoyed the film a lot, though a lot of it is nonsense. Okay, back to work.
Cheers, Romeo.
Yeah, get back to work.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers, ears.
Here you go. Rest in peace, Cyberchord.
God almighty.
Well, he can't be Cyberchord unless he sounds robotic there.
What happened to Bacon? He hasn't made a guest star.
Oh, Matt G?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
not.
that's
We've
enough.
not seen him today. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, is that coming back?
There's real life game.
Oh, is there?
Reality TV series. Anybody see this?
Does people
What?
die?
Yeah, so people really die.
I saw this, but I didn't see a trailer for it.
And nobody dies?
It's going to be. It's
Nobody's
a
gonna
reality,
die.
A
Damn
reality
it.
series based on the TV.
Oh,
Yeah, if they
that's going to go all kinds of wrong, man, if they're not careful. That's scary.
I hope nobody dies.
oh, I hope they do.
Well, that's the whole point of the game,
They did.
isn't it?
If they go on
That's
this
the-
stupid show, not knowing what the actual TV series was, then they deserve to die.
I agree with that.
But the thing is, though, that was the whole point of the film. That that was the stakes, that you die. So if they
Yeah.
make this into a real show, what's the stakes then? What, they just come out of the game? That's just like every other game.
It would be the best if it was like the first the game in that show where nobody knew they were gonna die until they started getting shot, and like these people are like,
Oh
oh, we're
my
not gonna
gosh.
die, and then all of a sudden they just start dying.
Gordon hopes hundreds die.
Yeah. That big creepy doll just singing that weird song.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer dropped on Netflix. Has been dropping a lot of previews of new stuff this week. Did anybody notice that?
Yeah, well, I've seen a couple of the trailers.
A lot of stuff.
Thing is,
None of it
though,
looks good,
there's too much of a gap between the first Squid Game and then this other one that's come in. In fact, I've lost interest. When it does hit Netflix, I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe I'll watch it. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens when you leave too much of a gap between something that's
No,
really
because
good.
they didn't know it was going to be a success.
Well, they
Yeah, I
didn't, but
know
also,
that.
like something like this completely undercuts the entire point of
Exactly.
the original. It's a very biting critique, not specifically of capitalism, though. Like lots of people like to say that it is, but it's more a very biting critique of people's materialism and their desire to do literally anything and everything for money. And so, of course, Netflix comes out and does an actual game where people do anything and everything for money, just proving the point of the show, but without really realizing it.
This one's for you, Lord. Do you want to read it, mate?
From the UK government will use this to get unemployment down or put the illegal migrants into it. Yeah, there's probably a connection between those things, but it's one way of doing it.
That's
It
horrible.
is. Should we move on?
Unemployment is like ridiculously low at the moment anyway. It's just that nobody can afford to live because all the jobs are shit. So we're already kind of living in Squid Game.
Well, nobody's dying because of the
Yet.
game yet.
Yes.
Yeah, which I wish they wouldn't do this stuff like that, because that first season was so good, and I just
was.
wish they would just do it and then leave it alone. Don't mess with it ever again. Write something new, because now it's just going to get old, and you're going to be like, all right, I don't care anymore.
Did anybody see Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon teaser?
Nope.
No, but who cares?
Zack in it.
That was going to be
Stream killer.
Microsoft as well. Yeah, who the fuck cares?
Stream killer.
Is it in black and white and is it in slow motion? 'Cause I'm guessing it's both of those.
I think it's in color and it's in normal speed. But you can slow it down if you want.
Did you know the main character is non-binary?
And
Oh my
did
God,
I
about
think
that, yeah.
I can't wait.
what's this? Oh, David Fincher.
4K remaster.
I'm definitely gonna get that.
I thought the Batman was already in 4K. So
Very fun. I'm definitely gonna get this. I love this
In
film.
4K? That's a pretty
Yeah.
graphic movie, man.
It's a great
so
movie.
good. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Never seen it.
I'm surprised.
honestly,
this
you should
wasn't
watch
already
it.
in 4K.
It's pretty
What's in the
disturbing.
box?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's absolutely
It's
well
so good.
directed, well performed, well shot. It just
Mhm.
it's absolutely fantastic movie.
Very good film.
Yeah.
Never seen
I'll
it.
definitely get the 4K when it gets released.
You should watch it. It's such a good movie.
It is.
It's about a serial killer, Brown, but the deaths are pretty graphic. That's I'm like, ooh, 4K might be a bit much. Might be a much.
Yeah. I think I was in middle school when I first saw this movie.
Here you go. First time tonight. Tim, I like saying this, Hannibal, a masterpiece.
I'd agree with that.
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you shoot him, he'll win. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Look who's in, everybody. Vex.
Hey-o.
Hey,
Vex. 7 is worth the time, Brown. Beautiful film.
It is a great movie. Morgan Freeman's absolutely brilliant in this film.
Here you go, folks. Drew Gordon, Blood in the Streets with Oliver Reed, or is it Reed? Is
Reed.
better.
No, it's not. It's not. In fact, right, they do have some tropes in this film, since this is a cop movie as well as a horror film. So, which is quite cool, actually, when you think about it. So, yeah.
Kevin Spacey's in it, though. Just a heads up.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they're
Kevin
making this in
Spacey's
4K.
really good in it, though.
Well,
Don't
no,
get
I
me
know,
started.
but the fact that they're
separate the
wasting
things
their
from it.
time with it, you know what I mean? Because he's
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah, I
like,
get what
you
you're
know.
saying. I get
Spacey's
it.
an interesting case because I believe most, if not all, of the charges against him were dropped subsequent
They
to
were
the
dropped.
the thing. Yeah, the guy who accused him originally just dropped them.
Wow.
You can make the allegation maybe there was a payoff involved in that, but I don't think that's proven. But the fact is that Kevin Spacey, in the eyes of the law, is innocent. Because the person who accused him of the crime said that actually I've changed my mind.
All
but the other interesting
over.
thing about that is that even if you still believe that he's guilty, I would be really interested to find out how many people who currently own copies of Seven and who will boycott The Flash because of Ezra Miller have subsequently snapped their copies of Seven.
Yeah.
Seven,
Sheer double in standards.
Seven's a great movie. I read
brilliant
a lot about this film. You know what I mean? And Kevin Spacey's absolutely brilliant in this film.
No, he's a
Yeah,
great
he's
actor.
great.
He's
I'm
not even
just
he's not
surprised
even
with the
he's not even
stigma.
credited. He's not even credited in the movie at all. And it was his idea because he said that if his name was on there, then people will suspect
Guess who
his name's not on it.
You go, Drew Gordon, Spacey, Depp are the same.
Are they?
What?
Well, no, I mean, in the sense that malicious charges were made, which were subsequently either dropped or completely disproven, and their careers were destroyed because of it. If anything, Kevin Spacey was the trial run for Johnny Depp. But for unaccountable reasons, Kevin Spacey has not enjoyed the same career resurgence.
Here you go. Cam's Crash Courses, the stuntman of YouTube.
bacon
Where's
is
Matt
bad.
G? Bacon,
Yeah,
bacon,
I
bacon.
know,
Lover of
I
bacon.
I know. So hopefully when they do the 4K of this version, they would actually keep the right color that they had in the cinema. Because when it's on TV, they screw around with the color.
Yeah, that is.
They do.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll keep the right color this time around. So.
Mega Geek, have you ordered the is it the remaster, the 4K of all the Superman stuff?
No, not
out over here.
Yeah, but I've been told some bad things about that because the extras are not very good on them. So I'm just waiting. My friend Keith, he knows all about that, so I'm just waiting for him to get back to me. But I'm definitely going to get them all. Apart from, I'll have to get them all now. The last film was awful. The last one was absolute rubbish. But hey, I'll get them. Well, definitely get them.
Superman 4. I think there was a good film in there somewhere. But anyway,
yeah.
Oh,
Shall
that
we
was
move
a
on,
hard
folks?
one to watch.
Yeah.
Yep. Move on.
Because it lost half of its budget.
Because of He-Man.
Yes.
Oh God, what is this?
Carol Danvers is off. Breeze away. Marvel have already lined up 3 characters.
Isn't she kind of mad about this?
She is a bit peed off. Apparently.
Yeah. Brie Larson. She's pretty pissed.
But you know what, right? Usually when they make things like this, I end up really fancying the actresses that they cast. I don't fancy none of these at all.
They're very blah.
Yeah. What happened to gorgeous looking women playing really, great roles in movies these days?
Well, you remember ever since Sorry, Brown.
I quite like Brie, other than her feet, obviously.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't have to lick or see her toes. But like, ever since they had
not
that
on the first date, at least.
Ever since they had that movement of like, everyone's beautiful, because I think Dove soap is the first one that did it. Then you had the whole SJW move. So it's like, okay, well, we'll just celebrate beauty of all types, quote unquote. So even not attractive people can be put in main roles now. I mean, it's legit,
sense.
right?
That
The
makes
only
no
person
sense.
that was like the exception to the rule for a while was Melissa McCarthy, right? But like for the most part, it was just attractive females being cast in roles. So
and quite rightly so, because people come to see good-looking people on screen. That it's about fantasy. It's about pretending that you're that person on screen. If you cast someone that's overweight and not very good looking, you're not going to connect with them.
Lizzo.
Yeah, but that's the culture shift, Mega, is the fact that people are trying to condition people to think that you can only like something if it's exactly like you, which is absurd. There's nothing to strive for or try to be better if you're just constantly being yourself.
No, I agree. Totally agree.
I'm American, bro. I say all of my letters.
Caranitos leading Munters.
I mean, how many of us mentioned the girl in The Flash? She's not good looking. The girl who played Flash's the girlfriend, absolutely not good. Why did they cast her?
Because she was like 7 years ago.
Right?
She was
yeah,
pretty
she was
then.
cute in the Justice League movie. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
And they filmed that in like 2016.
And now
and it's the same girl.
No, is it the same girl?
Yeah,
Yeah,
same
same girl.
actress.
Oh man, what happened to her?
She,
Time happened to her.
and maybe they didn't do her makeup right or something,
she
and then
needed to
like
lose
she
weight.
gained a little bit of weight. Everything all together. They didn't dress her very well
This is how
either,
bad it is in Hollywood.
or do her hair very
They
well.
It is, and
can't
I think it's
go up to
slightly-
the actress and say
it
she
sort of
needs
works,
to
though.
lose weight.
She does,
Why
but I
don't-
think it sort of works. I never thought she was particularly attractive even in her first depiction, but I thought it kind of worked. If you're going to give Barry Allen a love interest, that she not be this sort of superhumanly good-looking person.
Why not?
I think it makes sense within the context of the film in the way that you wouldn't and shouldn't forgive it, say, if they made Supergirl completely fuck ugly. So I didn't really mind that she looked a bit dumpy because she's a journalist, and like I know journalists, and they're not healthy people.
Ego folks, Vex says Iris West was dumpy AF when she was dropped dead in.
She was dropped dead.
Drop dead.
I
Like
don't
drop
think she
dead
was
gorgeous.
dropped dead in
Yeah.
Justice League.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? She was fit. In other words,
Was she though?
She
No,
was.
She
I
was
thought
fit
she was
for
really
her.
pretty.
Yeah, she was all right. Yeah,
Justice League.
cute,
Yeah.
cute.
And the girl in the TV show was even fitter.
They made
Right.
her look like an intersectional feminist.
Yeah. This is the thing. This is the thing. you see.
Ego, Andy Mouse, time happened to me. Happened to me as well, mate.
I mean, they cast her again for consistency's sake, which also makes Justice League canon, which also creates a bunch of contradictions just to have her in this movie. So it caused all kinds of problems.
But that's what I'm
Because
saying.
she wasn't even in the
What's that?
Joss Whedon version, so
Nope.
they didn't need to do it. If they wanted to
Nope.
stick with that continuity, they could have dropped her completely, but they chose to put her in. So they've chosen to canonize Snyder's universe even as they destroy it, which is an
In the
interesting
old
choice.
days, right, in the 70s and the 80s, if you cast an actress and they came on set and they were overweight, the director or the producer would go and say, look, you're overweight. We really need you to get on the treadmill because you're in the movie.
Lose some
And we
weight,
want you to
fatty.
look
Yeah.
we want
they
you to
would.
look good, right? But
Say that again,
now you can't
Lose
do
some
that.
weight, fatty.
That's it. You obviously don't say it that way, but you can't do that now because they will be offended. It's like, no, I'm doing it for your own good. I want you to look good on screen. What is wrong with you? Don't you understand that concept? And you can't say that to them anymore because they get offended. This is ridiculous. I've actually told a couple of actresses in my movies they need to lose weight.
Well, but now you're fat shaming.
Well,
No, I'm not.
Today's
You are
society.
honest.
Yeah.
You are.
No.
But
Why
that's
does this
how it's
only apply to
seen.
women though? Because
Yep.
That's how
you
it's
can
seen.
tell men that they have to bulk
Exactly.
up for a role. So
Exactly.
why is this exclusive to one gender?
Double
Because women
standards,
are
sheer
taking
double
over
standards.
society the last few
Sheer
years.
double standards, man.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If the revealing difference is that often you don't have to tell men that they need to lose weight because they look
Exactly.
at other people on screen and they think, well, I need to lose weight because I want
Right.
to look like that, as opposed to saying, well, this woman is too attractive and she needs to be brought down, which is a fundamental difference in approach. And I do wonder, as Rennie, as you say, it's largely because women have taken over in certain creative roles that maybe the difference in approach is being institutionalized, which is not really what we want to see happen.
Question then.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with that mentality of them doing so, but that's honestly the reason why, or only reason I can think of.
Question then, folks. How would everybody have felt Lizzo being cast as Supergirl?
That would have been
I would
disgusting.
love to see the box office.
Unsurprised.
Could she even fly? I mean, I'm sorry. She's a huge moving target if that's the case.
She could be cast as
the worry. The landings.
She could be cast as the world engine, right? Because the whole point of that is the gravity reversal, and so she could be that.
She would be Unicron in the Transformers.
Oh my God,
Galactus eating.
So if you look at these three girls, right, who would you cast? Right, I would probably cast. I wouldn't cast Brie. I'd cast someone better looking than her. Who would you cast as the black girl on the left, and who would you cast as? Is it she Latino on the right?
No, I don't care.
No, she's Pakistani.
Oh, is she Pakistani?
I don't care.
But that's what I'm saying, right? You would cast better looking people.
Brie for the win for me.
Yeah, I know you like her feet, Ian. Come on.
Yeah, lick them toes, bro.
No, not
them
on
web
the first
feet.
date. Not on the first date.
Dear, oh dear. Keep those trainers on, love, when you're in the bed.
Keep your socks on.
Keep your socks on.
Exactly.
Oh God.
All right,
Really.
moving on.
What's worse,
What
the
the
toes
hell?
or Kathleen Kennedy's neck?
Oh God.
Oh, that's pretty
think they're both
disgusting
bad.
too.
KK's neck.
At least
Which-
you can cover up the feet. You can't cover up the neck without a really good
Wear a scarf
scarf.
or like a turtleneck.
Which KK leads us in beautifully to this. Well done, Blue Man.
Oh,
I heard the last Indiana Jones film is better than this one, and that's saying a
you know,
lot.
the sad thing is, though, I just saw the trailer for this in front of
Yes, I was going to say
the
that.
Flash.
yes.
It didn't look that bad, but I'm like, nope, not falling for it. But it really did not look like, oh, this is going to suck. It looked like, it might actually be a decent Indiana
Yeah, I'm not
Jones movie,
watching
even
it.
though we know it's
It's-
not going to be the case. But
If I may, it didn't look too bad until the person on the right appeared on screen and opened her mouth. I fucking hate the woman.
And I hear at the ending, spoilers, that the adventure continues with her and the little boy. So there
big
you go.
surprise.
Well,
There
wasn't
you
that
go.
one of the rumored plans? Was that the expansion of the universe would take place on Disney Plus with her in the lead role? I think I
I
read
don't
that
think that's
somewhere.
going to happen anymore.
Well,
though.
so two
Oh no,
things,
it's not going to happen.
right?
But
So, firstly, like we were just talking about unattractive females being cast in lead roles. And secondly, Indiana Jones has a son. As much as I don't like
Oh, I
Shia
know.
LaBeouf,
Oh,
He's
why the
dead.
hell couldn't you have
He's
like
dead.
gone?
Hateful,
Okay, but are they going to
hateful.
express that?
He dies in Vietnam, according to the
Oh
story.
my
this
god,
Really?
that is
Yeah,
Yeah, he
stupid.
dies. Yeah, he dies.
Why couldn't he just leave it at he is serving in Vietnam?
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
Gotta
and
kick the honky
that-
down.
Another bit spoilers. So close your ears. She punches Indiana Jones out. towards
why
the
am I
end.
not surprised?
Big surprise.
So there you go.
on Shia LaBeouf, because obviously, yeah, he is famously kind of mental. But I was reading a couple of interviews with him last week, I think it was, about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when he said that he understood why people didn't like his character. He said that he had, I can't remember the exact words, but he said that he was given this incredibly important role. It was so closely attached to someone people really, really cared about. And he said, I didn't do a good enough job, and everyone knew it, and I know it. And so I
Yeah, he
apologize
owned
for
up to
that.
it. Yeah.
So for all of his other insanity, at least this is a guy who kind of takes responsibility. The reason that his character wasn't well received is because he didn't do a particularly good job.
Yeah, but-
I think it was the writer actually more than the performance.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, the fact that
Yeah.
he's willing to stand up and say, no, I take the blame for this, probably speaks kind of well of him.
Well,
I
he's,
would
he's
like more
found
people
God.
to do that.
He's found God. That's why. You know
Gotta
that,
own,
don't you?
own up to your mistakes. Or
I thought
when
it was
you're
an
not-
older interview, so it might
No,
be before that
no.
happened.
Oh, well, he's become a Catholic now, apparently.
Oh,
So because he did a film playing a saint or something like that, and he just kind of now he's a Catholic. Apparently.
Bishop, good night, mate.
Good night, Bishop.
Good night, Bishop.
yeah. Well, look, if it's made him sane again, then good on him, and I'm all for
Yeah,
anything
I
that
hope
makes
so.
anybody sane.
Yeah.
Maybe Ezra Miller should try that, perhaps, but
Anybody gonna
rather
go
than
see
starting
this?
religions for himself.
Yeah.
But I really, this is going to hurt. I love Indiana Jones. It's
So
one of
do
my
I.
favorite franchises. It's one of the first films I ever remember watching and liking.
Yeah.
And so I can look at The Flash and say I don't really care either way, and I'm expecting it to be bad. But this one, I'm expecting it to be fucking awful. But I would also really, really like it not to be, because it's one of the few characters I can actually say I care about.
Chris Gore said there's been a
First
few
20 minutes,
websites,
isn't
and
it?
Chris Gore, first 20 minutes felt like a movie, and then it's basically as soon as she turns up, that's it. It just sucks the life out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
That's a shame.
is it, because everything that I hate to say this, everything that Doomcock said is actually going to happen in the movie.
Well, keep in mind, if you spout thousands upon thousands of rumors, you're about to have a couple sink into the bucket and be correct. So,
but that's not true.
Fair.
No, but that's not true though. That he was very accurate in what he was saying about
this
Indiana
time
Jones. And
his Reddit rumors were correct.
yeah, exactly.
It doesn't always mean that they will be.
I think she is insufferable. And I want to put a certain word after that as well. But
don't do it.
So what happened in that? There was a video where they were having a screening and Spielberg didn't thank her or something like that. I remember reading about. Does anybody know what happened there? Anyone? So they have this video on YouTube where Spielberg, Lucas, and Harrison Ford and KK are on stage, and Spielberg was talking about the glue of Indiana Jones and didn't mention her at all.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one, but I've seen the clips of when George Lucas turns up for the screening for this, and he looks so depressed.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah. Oh God.
He always looks quite depressed, but he looks really depressed for this one.
I have got that photograph, but I forgot to put it on the slides. He just looks broken.
That makes me sad.
According to the stuff that I've read, Spielberg was thanking people, and then he says something like, "The glue of Indiana Jones is this," and he mentioned Harrison Ford, him, Lucas, but he didn't mention KK, and KK was standing right next to him.
I hope he did say that, because he would be completely right. But it's worth remembering George Lucas led the way for the story for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that was shit. But if George Lucas, who did Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, thinks this film is depressing, then oh my God, we're in for something quite special.
Yeah,
right.
It's going to be awful. I know it.
For sure.
Who's going to go see it then?
Well,
Not me.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know now. I don't know what
I don't think I want to.
Yeah, nor do I just by hearing the reports and stuff, it's just going to destroy the memory of what I have of Indiana Jones. It really is. Getting punched out by that stupid idiot.
For all its flaws, Crystal Skull, I can watch it.
It had some good parts. It's tolerable.
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett was a great bad guy in that movie.
Yeah.
It's just, sorry folks, again, it's that woman on the right.
But he's 80 though. It's like, oh, let's go and find this thing. All right, I'm going to put my hat on and my leather jacket. And I understand that, but he's 80.
Chat.
Like, what the hell?
Chat, who's going to see it? Anybody? Here you go. Franco? No.
I don't think they should ever have done the fourth film. I think they should have left it at 3. There are certain properties that are so good, but they are so off their time. They should stand as historical monuments, and they should be left alone. If you are going to bring it back, the only way really I think you can do that is if you make an equivalent of Crystal Skull, which portrays the handing of the torch, which I think they tried to do but failed to do, and then you do the fifth film where he is just like this mentor figure who is occasionally looked to for advice. And you don't try to put him back into a leading role, which he is simply too old to play anymore.
Yeah.
It's just going to be miserable watching him. You'll know the difference when it's a stuntman and when it's him. The de-aging will be just uncanny. And when he's on screen himself, you'll think, yeah, you're the guy I used to think was Indiana Jones. And now look at you. And that's really, really miserable.
I'll say this, and I'll always say this. The two things they should have done right is, one, either cast someone as Indiana Jones if they wanted to move forward with the adventures, cast someone else. Harrison Ford is not in this, or two, have Harrison Ford and the guy who played Short Round and Marion back in it. And do that. No, they didn't want to do that because they wanted to stick the politics in there, and they wanted the woman to punch him out at the end of,
spoilers, everybody. Apparently Marion is in it.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. So there you go.
It was the killing of his son in Vietnam. I just thought,
that's not right.
Why though? Why? Again, he's
Why?
married
I know.
and suddenly he's divorced.
It's
He's
because
getting
he's
divorced.
the patriarchy.
It's because they hate
It's
men.
absolutely
That is so
disgusting.
stupid.
It's disgusting.
But you could make that an incredibly powerful plot beat in his
Exactly.
story if you wanted to, but there are two ways of treating it. It's either, well, how can we get the guy out of the film? Well, let's just say he died in Vietnam. Or you can say, how can we possibly portray an Indiana Jones who's properly influenced by his recent past? Then you have to make his son's death in Vietnam pivotal to his character. And if they don't do that, then it's just utterly bizarre as a decision. It's a really, really powerful story idea. You could do so much really great work with that as your premise, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they think that's a cheap get-out clause to avoid including Shia LaBeouf in the film.
Another spoiler. Apparently, when he's teaching, someone in the back knows more than him. One of the students.
It's her. No, it's her.
Yeah,
it's her. Yes, it's her. Yeah,
Oh Lord.
So, you know,
oh
get ready,
Lord.
folks. Strap in, everybody.
Even then,
in for
you
a
can
bumpy
see
ride.
it's a really easy way. You can keep the same scene, and it's so easy to imagine how you can play that properly. You have this upstart lefty student in the 1960s who thinks they know everything, and you have Indiana Jones, who actually has life experience, put the student down.
Yeah,
And then you
exactly.
keep the same scene, but you make it actually honor the character as opposed to put the character down.
Well, she's going to put him down.
And so you already know what they're going to do, which is the complete opposite of the thing they should do. So it's not that there's no promise in the premise of the film. It's that they don't really seem to understand what their own premise is and what use they can put it to, and they don't really care about the character, so they're not going to do a good job with him. And so I keep coming back to the point that this is going to be a really depressing film more than everything else, because in the backstory, they've given him random pieces of information which are so powerful, and they will forget about them entirely because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is here now, and she's the next big thing.
Absolutely. She's not the next big thing. She really isn't. Only stupid people in Hollywood think she's the next big thing. And she'll have another 2 films and they'll tank, and then they'll realize they have to get rid of her. And then
I've got bad news for you folks. Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
No, this is old news.
You,
this is old news.
fell
This is old
offline.
news. This is old news, though. We knew this. She was doing this,
Well, it's been
and she's
confirmed again, folks.
And if she's going to do the same she's done with her writing on Fleabag and this, it's going to be
Laura
rubbish.
Croft, everybody.
It's going to be rubbish. If Laura Croft
bummed.
is not a gorgeous-looking woman running around kicking ass,
Lizzo.
then it's not going to work.
Yeah,
She
she's got to
could
have
be
big
Supergirl.
hooties.
See, here you go, folks. Hooligan S3 for $10. Thank you, sir. They should have brought back Short Round, I'll say this, Oscar winner.
Yeah.
Teamed up with Mutt, and Indy is like his dad in Last Crusade, retired but knowledgeable.
I would have got rid of Mutt and I would have kept Short Round. That's what I would.
Well, you can get rid of one or the other, but I think the idea of portraying him in his final film in the same plot role as his dad played in that film is a really, really brilliant idea, and it's so clear and obvious how you can make brilliant dramatic use of that, because it's a way of referencing the great past, which also makes sense in the present. So it's not just a Flash style memberberry thing. It's also, look, this is a guy who had a lot of disagreements with his father. They kind of got over those, and now he's come to the point where he's realized that his father was kind of right in his attitudes, and he's taken on the role of the father figure. That's a brilliant premise for a final Indiana Jones film. I wish they would do that, and they are not going to, because that's a good idea.
I kind of get the feeling that if they was to start making this film now, purely because of Short Round winning the Oscar, I think he would have.
And he takes the mantle.
Yeah,
that makes sense, right?
Instead of her,
he would take the mantle. He maybe when Indiana Jones catches up with him, maybe the history is that he dumped him somewhere because he couldn't really have Short Round stay with him, and he's got that against Indy. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You could work that in. That might be quite nice rather than Mutt, because a lot of people didn't like that character, but they love Short Round.
But then in defense of Mutt, so let's say we're creating our ideal Indiana Jones film and Indy has taken on the role of his father, then there's use in keeping his son in it, because there is a young Indiana Jones series. You can portray his son in the same role as the young Indiana Jones to the father figure who's quite distant at this point, and that's played by a guy who used to be young Indiana Jones. Like, there are so many brilliant ideas that are so easy to work into great story ideas here, and they won't do it. And it's
of course they won't. course they won't. It's a real shame because this one is going to hurt more than any other.
It is. I think
franchise
it is. Yeah.
Because I love Indiana Jones. In
Yeah.
fact, I think Ian will agree with me. The second one that hurt really bad was James Bond when they killed off James Bond.
First one for me, mate.
Yeah. So it's like they're just destroying our heroes. But
I'd put Star Wars first. This will be second. Bond probably third.
all right. Yeah, Star Wars. Yeah. Oh, dear. And don't even talk to me about Doctor Who and shooting that one being naked and shit like that. What
I don't even think I'm going to watch this new season.
No,
I
it looks
can't.
crap, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks awful.
I think that was it, folks. I think we've already done our finally. So
Yeah, finally.
We've already done
Drum
it.
roll, please.
Yeah, we've done it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Is this the finally?
No, that's the last slide.
Oh,
we did the finally at the beginning.
Are you talking about Matt?
Yeah.
Matt and his kid. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it, folks.
Really?
Yeah.
I was just getting into it.
Yeah, just warming
And
up.
we're finished. And we're finished for some reason. That's weird.
Ain't that usually how it goes? You're getting into it, and then you're like, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few slides we haven't done, but they're flash slides, and I think we put that.
All right, we've already moved on.
Yeah. So, chat, I think that is it. Chat, you are wonderful. Thank you for the interaction and the super chats. We will see you next time. Phantom Menace, part 75.
Oh my goodness.
On Wednesday morning. So, looking forward to that one. I will thank the guests. Rennie L. Thank you.
Thank you, as always, Brown. It was good to chat with the rest
Great to
of
have
you
you on.
fellows as well. It's great that we can all have, like, a good discussion and still come out amicably, because you'll see some channels that just can't do that. And that's one thing I really like about this channel. We have a great chat, and just want to say thank you to them
We're
as
all
well.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
We are fucking awesome.
I mean, that's some self-awareness right there.
I think Jay. I think I've tickled Jay. Anyway. Okay. Catty Matty, Linda, listen.
Listen, thank you guys for having me. I always have a good time with you guys. It was super fun.
Great to have you on, mate. Meggie, cheers, mate.
No worries.
Old blue boy himself, movie cynic.
Woo! See you next time.
Twang.
Wow.
And last but by no means least, it's the Dark Sith Lord, Little Platoon.
Thank you as ever.
You two are back tomorrow out.
I'm going to have that as my ringtone. Thank you as ever.
It sounded like you said ass at first instead of as.
It's English, mate. It's English.
I do believe it's B-Sup tomorrow.
I believe it is, yeah. So we'll be doing The Flash again, and there are a couple of other things I've got in the docket. So, yeah, we'll finalize that list. And because there's the writer's strike stuff, which has apparently set back the entirety of Marvel's Phase 6 and 7.
Thank God.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, yes.
Yeah, thankfully. So there's plenty more besides The Flash, but we'll be definitely revisiting that tomorrow. So, yeah, tomorrow at, is it 10:30 my time? And I don't even know what it is in fake time. So,
I am seeing. So the reason it was late last week
Changes
is
every week.
Yeah, the reason it was late last week was because I had my trainer in the afternoon, but I've switched to Monday mornings with him. So it'll be like, well, I don't know, whatever time you and I agree on. It can be earlier.
yeah, at some point tomorrow we'll be live.
Tomorrow sometime.
Have you got 13 people on this time? How many people you got on?
No, you really need to stick to 6 people. It's just
The audience would disagree with you there, but we'll take it under advisement.
Is
okay.
Bagface going to be on?
He's
I
welcome
like
whenever he
Bagface.
wants.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, I like him. He's quite
all
fun.
right.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
he's
like
very good.
Vex as well. Vex is quite fun.
You need to get uninspired reviewer on as well. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
like I said, like, next time he's available, he's more than welcome to come on.
We're only allowed 6, Brown.
Yeah, how many people
Make
do you
them
want
count,
on?
Sonny Jim. So I think that is it. The boys will be back for the old B-Sup tomorrow.
town.
I was thinking that, but I didn't do it.
He did.
I got it.
It's episode 150. We need to do something special, don't we?
Yeah.
Costume really sucks. Sorry.
Get Drinker on. Drinker, I'm sure Drinker, if he's around, will come on for your 150th special.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
do it, dude.
Do we need him?
No, we don't need him, but like make
It'll
it
be
like
fun.
a big.
It'll be fun.
Do a big like EFAP special, 12-hour stream where it's just rolling.
Oh my
guests.
god.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Could we do like a big simulcast to all 3 channels at the same time? See what
That
happens.
could work.
Might be
I don't
That
care.
might be a laugh.
Facebook.
That would be fun. No
Twitter.
worries.
Anyway, we will figure out what we're going to do. That's episode 150. So big one, folks. So that is it. If we don't see you tomorrow or Wednesday, have a great week. I'm sure we will be around at the weekend. So take care, everybody. We are out of here. And as you know, timing.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.